The thing with the 32 special and anything else that goes in the tubular magazine is you really need to roll crimped round, and that stretches the very end of the brass, and that's where you run into sizing issues with those.
Okay, that's for the RCPS, dies I have for it. Crimp the casings. I have it set up so it crimps. But I don't know the difference between that and a roll crimp. Maybe you can explain that to me, Tony.
A roll crimp actually pushes the freaking rim of the case harder into the cannon loader, basically. It's a
Okay.
must on Magnum revolver rounds. And then you should do it on lever actions too, just for preventing chain fires, crap like that. Not chain fires, shit. Bullets seating deeper into the case from the spring and recoil pressure of being in that tubular magazine. I'm
All right,
sure
well, I'll have
that
to
the
look into that
crimp you
one. I
use is
appreciate it.
fine. I'm not saying you have to buy a roll crimper. I mean, your crimper probably does the job just fine. It just tends to stretch the end of the case.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate that. That's why, like, when, Travis asked me earlier if I, started asking me questions, like, well, you reload, like, be careful on that. Just because someone reloads a little bit doesn't mean they have all the answers. And that's for first thing I ever actually loaded. Was a 223 round. Buddy had his stuff set up, and I was asking him questions. He's like, and he got up, sit down. I'll walk you through the steps on this round. And then when you get your stuff, I'll walk you through it again on your own rifle. So I mean, it was his all of his data. I just was one pulling the lever.
Yeah.
All right, give me one. Hey guys, can you hear me okay now? Are we back on? Are we
Yep.
good?
Ah man,
Sounds like
there
it.
goes the quality of the show.
Oh, there it goes.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay or not?
Yeah.
Okay, so for some reason, I'm trying to get my let me get my audio set. I was doing good. I just turned my my mic off for a second to go run upstairs. Right now, my audio is coming through the speakers on my monitor, and for some reason, let's open up the volume mixer here. For some reason, the audio is now coming through. It's not coming through my headset anymore. So I don't know what the problem is. Is the you guys go ahead and talk? Is it causing any issues coming through your end at all, or not?
Everybody's kind of choppy, but I think that's me.
Yeah, my end's fine. For being on mobile, everything sounds normal.
Oh, that is so weird that it's doing that right now. I don't know. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and go with it. As long as it's okay, I'll keep my volume turned down on my television here so you don't pick up the feedback through my mic here on the headset. I have it all set up to go through that, so that's just odd. Okay. I've never had a problem with that before.
During
It
intro,
sounds good over here.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, if
we're
you guys
just
are
getting ready
good,
to
I
pull
think
in.
we'll just go ahead and start. I actually started it a while ago, going live. I've been trying to tell you guys that we're live right now. So people have been getting a little bit of the pre-chat. So if I'm coming through okay on your end, hey, you guys watching on gun channels and YouTube, is the audio okay? You want to give me, sounds good here? Okay, so Cowboy Swamis is checking in. So I turned off my mic and my camera to go run upstairs real quick, and I came back, and my mic decided not to work. So I'll have to check those USB ports on that tower. So anyway, guys, we are live. We've been live for a while. Caliber Corner number 82. Topics for today, we may, I may dabble into reloading a little bit because I've been on this reloading high now for the last couple of days now that I've got everything I need to get started. But today's topics are going to be rifle versus pistol caliber lever guns or lever guns. And, it kind of depends on your take on what you consider a pistol caliber, because a lot of these rounds have been able to be fired through lever gun rifles ever since the beginning, right? Build versus buy an AR and go to hunting guns. Okay, so Liberty's Warriors in the house. Blue Steel 44. Poor Conservative is with us. Ed is with us. Snake Doctor 78. Homie Galley's out there. Poor Conservative. Alex Che. Alex, good morning. Good morning, sir. Alex has a question for the panel, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Cowboy Swami, Sketchy Roll, Boob Sweat's with us. Frank the Tank Hellman's out there. Cody Kelly in the house. 04 Hemi, Jason Stewart. Tacos and French Fries. Keyword is with us. Patriot in the Dark, WB. Cadillac Jack is out there. We got some Midnight Range going on. I haven't seen him yet. I'm not sure if he's joining or not. He might have been one of the first guys on to say hello. I think that's about everybody. So let's check and see who's with us over on the Gun Channel side. And over there on the Gun Channel side, we got Tony over there. Paper Play Crash is over there. Patrick's over there. Keywor's over there. All right, good morning, guys. Let's go and let the panel introduce themselves. I'll be fiddling with my audio here, trying to get the sound to come back through my headset. But in the meantime, let's let you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tony, why don't you say a few words and let people know who you are, man?
Good morning, people. If you don't know who I am, you'll figure it out eventually.
All right. And so, Tony, where can somebody find you if they like what you have to talk about? Do you do any other shows at all? Where are you at?
I do Rick's Life as I see it.
Okay.
Later today and Wednesday evening. And I don't know what time because I'm confused. And then usually morning lobbies on gun channels.
Yeah, Tony's over on gunchannels.com quite a bit. So if you guys have questions, and you get in the chat, there's a chance that Tony might be there. Really good guy to have on the channel. Very knowledgeable about reloading. And it's good to have you on here, man. Thanks for joining in again.
Thanks for the invite.
Cool. All right, Squib. What's going on, Squib?
Hey, good morning. Just fiddling around with my reload stuff.
I can see that. You got a nice little spread going on there, man. You got everything all set up and everything's laid out for you. Are you going to do any reloading anytime soon today? What do you got? Any plans going on or anything in the future?
I wasn't, but you got me all pumped up to get back into reloading. It's reloading season. I really should be, but I've been working on stuff on the weekends. I've had stuff going on, and before you know it, the warm weather will be here. Yay! And I want to go to the range, and I won't have a stockpile of ammo built up. So this weekend, I'm going to get back to the 223 5.56 because I've got a teenage son that just eats through that like crazy. Once I get done with that, I'm either going to get back into 44 or I'm going to do 300 blackout. So
okay. Yeah, it's just, it's funny. There's a lot of guys that were already talking reloading in the chat today too. I mean, that's, if there are specific questions about it, if they pop up, I'll kind of do the best I can to keep an eye on. I'm running one monitor here, but I'll try to do my best. Check out the chat going on the YouTube side and then also on the gun channel side too. So if something pops up on that, I'll refresh it frequently. All right, Squibb. So thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you being here. All right. And Sandhill Shooter is in the house. Another fellow Nebraskan. Sandhill Shooter, what are you doing, man? What's going on this morning?
Good morning. I am getting ready to head to work. I had originally not planned on being able to join this morning, but plans changed.
Okay.
And so here I am for a little bit.
All right. Well, maybe this first topic might be one that might spark some interest in you. Talking about some lever guns. All right. Kingpin's in the house. David Bowling, what do you know, brother?
Working this morning. How is everybody? Lots of noise.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Hey, tell us a little bit about the channel. Where can we find you? What do you got going on these days?
Really haven't put out too much this month. Hopefully I'll get some stuff out before the end of the month, but just check me out. If go to my new Gunstreamer video and check that out.
Cool. Yeah, you got your drawing coming up here. That's going to be the cutoff for that's the 24th. Is that right?
Yeah, Sunday I'll pick the winner.
Okay. Cool. That'll be awesome. All right, and then also a reminder, Sandhill's Shooter has 2A Tuesdays, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of different cool discussions going on over there, so make sure you check that out. Subscribe to anybody on this panel. All right, Calaveras, what do you know, man? What's going on?
I'll get back to you guys in a minute.
No problem, buddy. You're traveling right now. You're on the road. All right, AWAG, are you alive? Are you surviving that nasty little spout of near pneumonia, I guess we could call it at this point, or what?
It was not pneumonia, and as you can hear in my voice, I'm still trying to get over it. But yeah, it's a sinus infection gone awry, but not too awry because I'm still alive, which is good. So today is, if you haven't noticed, is 223. So oddly enough, I'm going to be, if I can get my thing to focus on me, reloading 223 today.
I didn't even realize that. Well, now I absolutely have to finish this batch of 223. Thanks for pointing that out.
And ironically enough, I got that brass in 223 from Squibb, so it is a 223 day today. So
I have my load development here. So all I have to do is tumble it because I went to the range with the How Mini Action a month ago, and let's see if I can find my targets. I cut up the targets that were the best. So the two best targets that I had were 24.2 grains of CFE223 and 25.2 grains of CF223 behind a 55 grain hollow point boat tail. So, and also here's my other AR that I built. It has a fake suppressor on it. I know.
Pretty cool.
But it's it's a pretty neat little gun.
I can't believe that those are even Jersey legal on the front.
Oh, it's a flat muzzle, so it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. It looks scary. It looks scary, AWAG.
It looks scary. Looks
can be deceiving.
Yeah.
So AWAG, I'm running.
All right, what? Who?
I'm doing a batch right now with AR Comp, but if I do some more later today or tomorrow, I think maybe I'll switch to CFE 223 for the next batch. Thanks for the inspiration.
There you go. There you go.
And CF223, for some weird reason, I guess it's just me. It's when you send a round, it smells like pepper. It like ground peppercorn. I don't know why. It just smells like that to me. It doesn't smell
Weren't we
like.
talking about putting spices in our powder in one of the conversations?
I think so. We got to put a little bit of oregano in there.
Yeah.
Tell them porn videos on your desk, Squib.
No, this is a 1980s cult classic. This is B Sci-Fi Gold, Cherry
I know the
2000.
movie. I'm familiar with the movie. I was just being smart ass.
Oh, all right.
So we have a comment on the YouTube side, and Sandhills, maybe you can chime in on this one. We're trying to figure out which one specifically. Poor Conservative says, you guys in Nebraska need to get rid of that state congressman wanting to take gun rights away. Which one would that be? Was he talking about Ernie Chambers or what?
Yep, he's talking about Ernie Chambers, I'm pretty sure. I had posted a video up on my Facebook page, not just about gun rights, although Ernie Chambers is definitely no friend of the Second Amendment. But to make this worse, and let me see if I can rile up everybody else too, if you go to my Facebook page, just Sandhill Shooter on Facebook, and find that video, this is one of our state senators. We have to claim him because he is from Nebraska, but he represents North Omaha, so it's not really Nebraska. But at the same time, this guy compared Old Glory to a Nazi swastika, and then he called it a rag. And I know that he has constitutionally protected speech, and he can say that, and we can't arrest him for such crap. But at the same time, that's just bad form, and you're not going to make any friends in most of Nebraska if you're going to call our flag a rag and you're going to compare it to a swastika, when that flag and a couple others are the only reason why we don't have swastikas covering the whole world right now.
Amen.
And he's one thing that's really bothering me as a teacher too, and this hits me personally, is he wants to see police officers or armed guards taken out of schools. He doesn't think they need to be there because he thinks they send a negative message to the kids that are there, and it's disproportionate and unfair to the kids, and it puts stress on the kids. And I'm like, he's obviously not a teacher. He's obviously not somebody that has to go to work disarmed. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, Ernie got busted for illegally carrying a concealed weapon back in the 60s, right?
Everything about this
for his own defense, he felt like his life was important enough to carry a weapon, and unfortunately it cost him some jail time, if I'm not mistaken. So
everything about this man is couched in race.
Yeah.
The reason, and he introduced several different bills this last week, one of which was to ban police officers for working as school resource officers. But it's not because of any reason other than the fact that he's saying that the black kids get picked on disproportionately, or the schools that are predominantly black in Omaha disproportionately have to have more SROs. And it's not racial profiling. Those are the bad parts of town. Those are the parts of town where you have to protect your kids with more officers. And it's funny. This is a little side note, but have you ever noticed that whenever there is something bad goes down in a school, it's never down in the rough part of town. It's never in the ghetto. It's never in the inner city. It's never downtown Detroit, downtown Chicago. It's always some suburban neighborhood. because downtown they have cops and they have metal detectors, and the kids can't get their guns into the school. But yet, we can't do that with all of our schools. Heaven forbid we protect the rest of our schools.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm done.
No, it's we got a lot of bills coming up in Nebraska. Was it last Thursday or this Thursday that they had the 4 or 5 anti-gun bills that were going to be popping up in our Nebraska unit camp?
The red flag bill is coming out of the and hitting the floor for debate and testimony this Thursday, the 28th.
Yeah.
So if you want details on that, please tune in Tuesday night to 2A Tuesday, and hopefully we'll have somebody again from NFOA to just talk about what's happening and urge and compel people to come. And anybody that can make it to Lincoln on Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock, you can actually testify before the unicamera against the red flag bill.
All right. Hey, let's go and shift off.
Is it just me, or did he go Mr. Roboto?
It was kind of breaking up towards the very end there. I caught most of what he said. Sandhills, you were a little bit choppy, bud. But again, my audio is coming through my speakers on my monitor and not my headset, so I can't tell how good it really is specifically. So hopefully you guys can catch it. But again, on 2A Tuesday, over there on gunchannels.com and also on YouTube, Sandhills will have his program on at 9 p.m. Central Time, and we'll discuss this topic. So.
And we're also going to have, for sure, we're going to have Walk the Talk America this week. Mike's not going to have to worry about travel arrangements. He's messing him up this week. So.
Cool. All right, man.
We'll talk about some mental health and suicide prevention, and maybe just removing some of the stigma, so people aren't afraid to get some help. That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. A lot of intense stuff coming up here soon. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get into the first topic. And this is, again, another viewer requested topic. I'm almost to the end of all the topics that people have requested from the 10,000 subscriber giveaway. There was a lot of stuff that people wanted to hear about, hear us discuss. And we try to limit it to, 2 to 3 topics a week and then whatever else pops up. So you guys that own lever action rifles, myself being a former owner of a 30-30, what would be the advantages of going with what I would consider a pistol caliber lever gun versus a traditional rifle round lever gun? What would be advantages, disadvantages? And you guys that own them, I want to hear kind of your take on it. Why would would it be a reason to take one versus the other, maybe from a hunting standpoint or self-defense standpoint? Is 30-30 the be-it-all, end-it-all of the lever gun? Is that all a person really needs? What do you guys think?
Well, that's from what I can tell. Go ahead.
Depends on the size of critter you want to kill with it.
Okay, so application is going to be a big part of it. What are some of the advantages of going with the pistol caliber lever gun, say a 44 Magnum or a 357 Magnum? What do you guys think?
That's for a number. If you're not hunting or if you're not restricted to number of rounds when you're hunting, the pistol caliber ones are often going to carry a few more shells, but like Tony said about the size of the critter, your energy level, and then your effective range is going to be a little different with a pistol caliber versus rifle caliber.
Yeah. What about capacity? What do these typically hold? What are you looking at for, say, like a Henry lever action or anyone's? What are we looking at for capacity on 44 mag, 67? What's that?
My 94 is 10+1, and my 95 is 9+1.
Okay. Now let's talk from a hunting standpoint. Let's just say deer. Okay. Can you guys that are in like Michigan and stuff, Illinois and whatever, those of you that have like say restrictions on the rounds, straight wall cartridges only or whatnot, can you run with those lever guns at all? I mean, do you have to have some sort of a kind of a plug or something in the magazine tube or what?
I was wondering about that. I didn't ask anyone. I didn't call the DNR and ask. I was hunting with a 10-round tube, the factory tube on the gun. In their accessory department, if you go to, I think it's Henry Pride, that's where they sell their gun accessories and clothing and stuff like that. They do offer these different followers, so I don't know if they're reduced capacity to plug it or not. But I mean, I only had 3 rounds in the rifle the whole time that I went hunting. And I had extra ammunition on me, but I only kept 3 in the tube. The same thing with my 1911s. I put 5 rounds in each mag. I didn't fill them 7 and then put 1 in the chamber. I don't know, because I'm new to this, if they have some sort of a waiver, because what if you got a 6-shot revolver and you have the capability to put 6 in there, but you're only supposed to have 5 when you're, so, I mean, for me, what's the difference? If the DNR walked up to me, I'd be like, look, dude, really? The rest of my shells are in my pocket. I mean, come on.
Well,
But
okay. In Nebraska for deer hunting, it's 5+1 if I'm not mistaken, and your magazine cannot be capable of taking more than 5 rounds. So if I was going to hunt with my AR, say I get a good hunting grade 5.56 round, I'd have to make sure I've got only a 5-round mag. Sandhills, you want to chime in on that?
That is correct. And I've yet to have it confirmed from the game warden as far as if you're concealed carrying, you know, like a shield or a block or something. I never did get that confirmed or denied for sure from the game warden. But just to be safe, if you're a Nebraskan and you're hunting deer and you want to have a pistol with you, make sure that it's a revolver. Because the 5-round limit in the magazine only applies to automatics.
okay, and see, so there you go. I mean, it might be something similar here in Michigan and maybe Ohio and Indiana too, is that if it's not a semi-auto, if it doesn't have a detachable magazine, then, but I mean, you still run into the whole, well, what if I've got a 1911? I'm sorry, but they don't sell a full-size 1911 with a 5-round mag. So, you know, I don't really know the legalities of it. Now, I can tell you that the DNR runs the gun range that I shoot at, and you can put a beta mag on your gun out there. They don't care the capacity, but they have a limit of 6 rounds in said magazine while you're shooting. The thing is, I've talked to those people out there, and their division of the DNR is different than the division that goes out and checks to see, you know, if you're hunting legally. So I don't even know if I could say, well, at your range you allow this. You know, I don't know that would fly.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. If you're considering going with one of these pistol caliber lever guns, you want to say, oh, I'm going to go hunt with it. Well, just make sure you obviously know what your magazine limits are going to be, because you might not be thinking with the tubular mag. It would be easier to get a lower capacity magazine for certain platforms for hunting. Whereas with the tubular mag, you know, you might have to get some sort of a dowel or plug or something you can use, you know, because I think you're looking at a 5+1 if you decide to go 30-30. But then you've got all those other options now for lever guns too. I mean, you've got all these, I don't want to call it non-traditional calibers, but they're making lever guns in whatever you want. I mean, I think we're seeing 458, you know, what a SOCOM now coming out, and you know, obviously you got your 4570.
6.5 Creedmoor.
6.5 Creedmoor is coming out now to lever gun, or it's already out. I mean, it's, you know, so, you know, again, I think Tony makes a good point. It really depends on the application. What do you want to do with it? Do you want an all-around gun? Or do you want a 200-yard deer gun? Do you want something you could use, say, for home defense, or truck gun or travel gun or a saddle gun, you know?
I actually, to be honest with you, I really like the 44 Magnum in a rifle.
Yeah, me too.
It's a lot more than I expected it to be.
Yep.
To be honest with you.
And I did get a chance to shoot squibs. Henry, that was in 44, right?
Yes.
And it really, the recoil was totally manageable, even with your plus P plus, whatever we were running around through.
Yeah, you were running 44 Special plus P plus and then 44 Magnum. So I put in my reloads and factory ammo. So you kind of got the whole gambit with it, and that was with the buckhorn sight that come with it. I hadn't put the peep sight on there yet, but yeah, you got an overall sampling of it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this real quick for anybody that knows, because I have no experience whatsoever with anything 44 caliber. Because I know you can get lever guns in what is it, 444 Marlin. Now that's a rifle round, right? So that's no comparison to like the 44 mag.
The 444 Marlin's closer to 4570.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So again, if you're kind of on the fence, obviously I would just say, well, buy both. Go get yourself a nice 44 mag or 357 Magnum lever gun and get yourself a 30-30 and, just enjoy the platform. And you got, a lot of different options out there, a lot of different brands. I'm not a big fan of supporting, things like Remington now, or some of these companies that are, where the quality control's really dropped off. But if you were going to get one, in my opinion, I think it would be okay at this point for you to go with, say, a Marlin 336. Quality control issues. I mean, they're not going to have the same kind of robust feel and build quality and internals as the previous whatever group it was that bought Remington back in the day, or Marlin, and moved them east or whatnot. I mean, I would say now you're going to be okay, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with going with the Henry. I mean, there's so many other different companies out there that do lever guns you can choose from. What do you got? What's that?
I went with my 1911 as my sidearm because legally I can hunt with it. It fits the parameters to hunt with down here as far as the cartridge. So if for some reason or other the DNR was out there and I put the deer down with the sidearm, they're not going to go, oh, you're breaking the law. Now, if I had more options, I would have carried a 44 Magnum revolver as a sidearm, or 44 Magnum Desert Eagle as a sidearm. That way my rifle and my sidearm match as far as caliber because of the limitation. If they didn't have limitations down here, I probably would have been out there with a 30-30 or 223 or something. So
that 45 has enough energy at the distance required to hunt with the deer, to drop a deer. Because I mean, here you got to have based on.
See, they don't calculate the energy here.
Okay, we use energy here.
It's strictly the case. It's the case length.
Oh, okay.
It has to be a straight wall case of a certain length. They don't have the whole energy thing here. I've heard of that in other states where it's got to have so much muzzle energy to kill, or it's got to be a minimum like to kill. And
yards or whatnot.
Different states have different laws. My understanding is the whole thing behind the law is houses are so close together, even out in the rural areas, they don't want any risk that you could hit another house. I could tell you, I could see houses from the blind. One of the blinds I was in, the other one I couldn't, but I could see houses. I watched an ambulance show up and pick up somebody from the house while I'm waiting on some dumb deer to cross my path. I mean, I could see a school bus off in the distance. I mean, this. So if you're out on an open field and you can see the highway, or you can see this, that, or the other, I mean, these things are technically in sight. Now, to hit something, you'd have to arc the gun and pray, but still, that's what they want. They want to reduce the likelihood that something's going to happen. If you're out where you're at, Travis, you guys have got even more distance between homes, between farms and stuff. And it's not to say there aren't some big farms here in Michigan, but you guys have just got a lot more open area. So for you, I would say I wouldn't even put a pistol caliber carbine in my sights, so to say. I would always just go with the 30-30 or something.
Yeah. I guess some of the advantages, and again, maybe if you've got a gun that shoots a certain caliber, you've got some advantages from a reloading standpoint. If you got the rifle on the gun, take the same caliber around, say 357 mag or 44. It's kind of nice to be able to share ammo, like you said before, have that sidearm with you.
The reason to have the pistol caliber carbine, generally speaking, is to have the same round in your handgun as you do your rifle.
Yeah.
That's the biggest advantage. Now, here in Illinois, I can't hunt with the rifle for deer hunting, so it's moved here.
Yeah, and if I had a 30-30 lever action, I'd have to go north of US 10 in Michigan to use it, which might happen this year or next year. So,
yeah.
I have a quick question, because for people, for people like Tony, I know residents of Iowa, residents of Maryland, and some other states, I'm sure too, don't allow deer hunting with the centerfire rifle. What's a good option for a shotgun if you want to go lever gun?
Lever gun, shotgun.
I can't answer that because I have never considered going deer hunting with shotgun.
Okay.
Hey, wait a minute, you're talking about, you mean like if you want to use a shotgun to go deer hunting? Or are you talking about
some states require, if you're going to hunt with a centerfire, then it has to be a slug gun. It can't be It can't be a high-powered rifle. It's got to be a shotgun, so slug round or something like that. So I know that there are lever-action shotguns available. So if you live in a state where you're restricted to shotgun only for deer,
I'm
and
only
you want
aware
to
of 2 lever action shotguns and then the reproductions for those. So,
like the 1887 replicas,
the 1887 and the 1901.
Yeah.
And then the reproductions for those. So, I mean,
but
and
here's
I
the
bet
deal.
that they've got a cool factor, but mechanically they're crap. Now, I don't know if that's true because I've never shot one.
I'm not saying it's ideal for deer, but doesn't Henry have a 410 lever gun?
Oh, yeah,
410.
you know what? They do. They do have a 410. Yeah, I forgot about that. I think they came out with that early last year.
410 probably is not big enough to go deer hunting.
You'd have to
Yeah,
get
I
awful
think you're
close,
going to have to either run some sort of a slug through it, or you could use your buckshot, I suppose. But you wouldn't want to. I don't even know if you'd be able to run the slugs through those types of lever action. If you could, just either convert or purchase a dedicated or get a barrel to run slugs for deer hunting through a shotgun, if that's the way you have to do it, obviously. Yeah, with those lever action shotguns, I mean, who knows if you could even safely run slugs through them? Because you would be limited to whatever you could get for shot at that point. I don't know. I mean, for me, I've got a Mossberg 835 trophy slugster that has 2 barrels, a regular shot barrel with the choke tubes, and then a rifled barrel. We've talked about this before, so I can shoot the slugs through it. And so I would go that route myself. I'd have to have some sort of a barrel plug to limit the number of rounds in it. Maybe I don't know if it'd be 5+1. I'm not sure exactly what the capacity is, but that's a good point. I was actually looking up those lever shotguns right now, trying to find one, and I just checked on Gun Genie. I was just seeing if there was anything listed as like a 12 gauge or a 20 gauge or a 410, and I'm not seeing anything. I suppose if you look around, you might be able to find something. You guys out there in the chat, if you know of any lever shotguns, or if anybody has one, let us know if you think you could safely put.
I mean, if you get a Winchester 1901, it's a 10 gauge. So
yeah. Hey, real quick, guys, we do have a super chat. Martin Korf just says $5. Thank you, Martin Korf. It's going to go into the reloading fund at this point. In fact, I just ordered a second press this morning, just a basic press for depriming and priming and kind of doing some of the dirty work. So I have to get my nice press. My nice press is not even installed yet, messed up or whatever. So it's all going to go into reloading at this point. Somebody made a comment in here. Iowa now allows straight wall cartridges for hunting. So are you limited to traditional like bolt action rifles with that? You guys are out in Iowa. Can you run semi-auto if you do like a 4+1 or 5+1? I'm thinking like a 450 SOCOM or a 50 Beowulf or something like that. You guys in Iowa, the mech, let me know about that if you get a chance, okay? It says Iowa now allows straight walled cartridges. So that might be the other way to go too, is go with something along those lines. And if it opens up more options for you for the type of gun you can hunt with, I would say go that route too. So the mech says I have a lever action 410. It came with a cylinder bore. I shoot slugs through it all day. Okay, so there you go. That could answer your question right there, Sandhills. I mean, he says I don't think I would try to take a deer with a 410. No. If you could get, say, a 12 or a 20 and get some nice Hornady SST rounds, I think you'd be okay. Yeah, I mean, again, the rules just get so complicated. So it's now Hootie Who says I have shot the Henry 410 lever action. It can shoot anything, any 410, even slugs. Okay. Clint says a 410 slug will do the job within 100 yards. You know, with the right kind of round, if it has the energy that's going to be necessary to take down a deer. Yeah, I mean, I would say, and if you
and
can,
the shooter puts it in the right spot.
What's that?
And the shooter puts it in the right spot. Not to say it's legal, but I know deer have been dropped by poachers with 22 long rifle with the right shot placement. So I mean,
true.
You know, if the shooter can do their part, you know, I'm sure the 410 can do its.
Yeah. Frank Hellman says complicated on purpose. Yes and no. I mean, obviously, you want to make sure you can take something humanely. So I can understand kind of the minimum energy amounts, in my opinion. Nothing is worse than shooting the deer, not dropping it, or dropping it within a reasonable distance, and it limps on, and you've got to track it down and put it out. That's not what it's about. That'd be the only thing, but. You know, I mean, just the way that they've got it zoned and sectioned, and you can only hunt with this here, hunt with that there. You know, being slug guns only and stuff. But again, a lot of it has to do with, you know, crowded residential areas and so on. So, but kind of back to the topic, just simply going, the rifle versus pistol caliber, there are some advantages to each one. Obviously, my thoughts would be to go with both, but both rifles would be more than capable for hunting for you if that's the round that you want to go. I don't know. Hey, Night Strike, I got a question for you, and welcome to the show, brother.
Yes.
Quick question. If you ever got a lever gun, would you go with a 30-30, or what caliber? Would you go with a pistol caliber lever gun? What would you do?
Well, I mean, I've considered, one in 357. I've also considered one in 4570. I think I'd go 4570 because that's a more traditional lever gun cartridge.
Okay.
It kicks a hell of a lot more, but why not?
You only need one round. It doesn't matter. You'll be
Right.
so going.
And we're talking lever guns, so 4570 is a more traditional lever gun cartridge. So I think I'd probably go that route. That route or 30-30.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the 30-30 round. That's more than capable too. It's
a 30. It's 30 caliber. It's fine.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's what we got here. Sketchy Roll says we use 4570 and 450 now for deer in Iowa. Yeah, with a lot of those big bore cartridges that have really taken off. I mean, you got a lot of options. I mean, CVA Connecticut Valley Arms makes a break action either 450 or 458. But you can get it's relatively inexpensive. It even has a little rail to mount your scope on, like $200. So if you want to go,
when I was hunting in November at my buddy's farm, that's what he had. He had a 450 Bushmaster. He had that CVA break open.
Okay.
And then when I was hunting with Dusty in December, he had a 450 Bushmaster AR-15. So the 450, it's pretty versatile. You can go from one end of the spectrum to the other. I kind of like that.
Yeah. And then, and I like the fact that there's a lot of price options too for somebody that maybe is kind of on the fence about how much they can spend or want to spend, or they're limited to straight wall. And because a standalone slug shotgun could be a little bit pricey depending on how you decide to go or what you want to go with. I mean, you can spend whatever you want on a slug gun these days, or a turkey gun, or a shotgun that you can convert to slug. And mine is an old, like a mid 90s, like I said, Mossberg 835. So it's old school looking. It's traditional pump, old cam, not even like pre-mossy oak camo. It's all black with like green. Looks like it was spray painted, but it was actually from the factory. And it's got a Turkey Federation or something in the stock, a little medallion in it and stuff. But you've got a lot of options if you want to go that route. So I don't know.
Now, was this strictly pistol caliber lever guns for hunting, or is this?
No, the question wasn't. What are advantages and disadvantages of the pistol caliber lever gun versus rifle? And it's hard to answer that question without bringing hunting versus self-defense.
Yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to use my Henry for self-defense to protect the home, but it's not my go-to. I mean, I'm going to the handgun for that. But if I lived out in the country, that might be my go-to, because I know if it'll drop a deer, it'll deal with a coyote trying to get into the chicken coop, or I don't think I would have a problem 44 Magnum versus mountain lion, 44 Magnum versus whatever. I mean
44
close
Magnum
range,
versus,
a small bear. I don't see that being an issue. So
44 Magnum versus just about anything, and it would definitely carry some weight. But that's where thinking about that one, about going to the handgun, that's where with the lever, thinking the lever action design, if you include the mare's leg into that conversation, about how does that affect the as a home defense, because that's where you get something that's maybe a little easier to control than a handgun, with a little more capacity, but it's not as long and as unwieldy inside as a rifle.
Real quick, and Night Strike, here's a nice little budget-friendly option for you. CVA makes a break action 4570. So, if you want to save half the price on the lever gun, you just want 4570 to have it. $235 for the matte black version over at Bud's. So that's that. Hey, I mean, and I think it's $215 or so for as a 450 Bushmaster, 458 SOCOM break action that they also make. So Yeah, it has the mount already on it for an optic. You just got to put your optic on there. It already has the one piece rail or whatever that's up on the top, and yeah, so that's an option for you. So yeah, all right. So there you go. Hopefully we covered the topic in depth, and the person that had the question about it has got a decent answer. And again, it depends on the application, depends on what you can hunt when, it depends on if you want it for home defense or which route you want to go. And you've got, just for the heck of it, I went over to Davidson's Gun Genie and just typed in lever gun, and there were 230 different lever guns for sale in various calibers, whatever you want. I mean, it's probably been chambered for it over there, so that's an option for you too. So it's pretty much whatever you want to shoot, whatever you're comfortable with. So you do have that option. But I don't know, any more thoughts on that at all, guys, on the lever guns? Okay, we'll take that as a no.
I guess if I lived somewhere where they didn't have the whole straight wall cartridge law, then I'd probably be using a 30-30. I'd be using a bottleneck cartridge there, but because of the law here, that's why I use it, and I'm not disappointed with it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're cool guns. I mean, I personally, I would recommend you go with a pre-freedom group. If you're gonna go get a 30-30, just go get a pre-freedom group, Marlin 336. Get something pre-2000, whatever, 2006 or 4. Go with one that's got the JM stamp barrel, because you're going to be getting it with the nice solid internal parts. That's just kind of my opinion. Spend the money and get one. They're going up in price now. I mean, unfortunately, Walmart has a new Marlin 336 for $347. These pre-freedom group Marlin 336s I was looking at on Gunbroker and just online in general were between $500 and $700. So they are going up, and I think that people want that quality, so that's driving up the price on them. And as you know, as time goes on, more of them are going to fall into the hands of owners, and there's less on the open market. Prices on them go up, and then before you know it, they're $700-800. So I'd say if you want to get a 336 and you want to go nice, old school, beautiful bluing, you got the tool steel internals, go with the pre-freedom group 336s. And you can go off the serial number and find out the date of production. There's quite a few registries that are out there that say if your serial number starts with this, the gun was made before this time or during this time or that time. So it's pretty easy to track them down.
That's where, and if you are looking them up, just beware that if it's older than a certain year, emailing Marlin to asking them to confirm year doesn't work. I actually found on, I think it was a Reddit thread or something, where I was able to get a rough date on my rifle, but when I emailed Marlin to confirm, their records didn't go back far enough to be able to confirm.
Yeah, and hopefully those records would be accurate. If you look around, if you see some consistent listings across the board, then you could be safe saying, okay, this one was made in 85 or 88. A lot of times when they put them up for sale, you would hope that the seller's being honest with you. They'll put the year of production on there for that gun, because with a gun like that, there's a lot of people that Hemi says, now I use 7.62x39 to hunt. LOL. Right on, bro. Right on. Got that over there. There's my Ruger Ranch sitting right there. 7.62x39. Love that gun. So that's a good one too. All right, let's go on to the next topic here. The idea, and me, I have some experience with this, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. And you guys have, this may be something that applies to you or not. When it comes to looking at purchasing an AR, let's just say that money is no issue. Okay, would you guys be more likely to purchase one that's just ready to go right out of the box, or would you be more likely to build your own from components? What are some of the advantages and disadvantages? I mean, yeah, you can buy one ready to go out of the box. It's going to be cheaper than building your own, right? And I'm just saying, if you got to go out and buy all the parts to build one straight up, let's just assume you got the tools. What do you guys think? What are some of the advantages of building versus buying an AR?
I don't think I would ever buy one ready to go. I just don't think I would.
It's not necessarily cheaper to buy right.
I ain't gonna build a gun ever.
Okay, so we got two different. Why not, Tony?
I spent my life building crap. I ain't doing it for my hobby.
But the idea that you could select the components that go into it, and say you could choose that trigger that you want, or you could get that barrel that you want, or you could get that whatever, dust cover or whatnot, I guess I like the flexibility of being able to choose the components that go into it. Now, me, I've only built one lower once. Everything else I've ever done has been just a pre-manufactured gun. And building the lower, I save no money on it. I mean, now it's so inexpensive to get pre-made lowers, even with the transfer fee and all this and that. You don't really save a whole lot unless you have the parts sitting around. So Tony, it wouldn't be a big deal to you. You would, if you were going to buy one, you would just get one that's pre-made.
Yes, and it would be an A2.
Okay.
But I have no intention of ever getting one.
No, I understand, and that's cool. That's cool. So you got the idea. You maybe don't want to mess with it. It would be an investment in some tools and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I probably got tools.
As for Travis, the cheaper doing one versus the other, if you're like, okay, I gotta have it right now, and so I gotta buy all the parts right now, then yeah, that's where it might not be any cheaper. If you don't have to have it right away, and you can wait for sales and pick up things a little bit here, a little bit there, there is a possibility, not to say guarantee, but there's a possibility you can get into a your AR for a little less than factory, and then you can have it tailored. Like the one I have in my intro or on my channel, I have about 500 into it before the scope. With a 20-inch, H-bar barrel, Magpul stock, this kind of stuff. It took me, I didn't have a lot of money, so I really had to spread it out. I was about 2 years into getting parts, and everything I bought was on sale. So, I mean, if I would have gone that was with the 25-45 Sharps. So that's if I would have gone a 223 5.56 or a 223 Wild or something like that, and was willing to shop sales, I probably could have gotten it down close to 4.
Oh, yeah.
If I were to ever build one, it would be in 25-45 Sharps.
There we go. Let's start sending parts to Tony so he has no choice but to build one.
I don't fall into that trap.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah, that's what I said, too, about
Tony's
thing, and that's what I said, too, about...
Not unless you send them a complete upper in, 25-45.
Yeah.
That's right. I think Tony's more stubborn than the rest of us. So he would, just on principle, he wouldn't do it just to prove us wrong.
Oh, man. Blue Steel has a pretty good point here. 10 years ago, I'd say definitely buy one. These days, there's so many great and cheap parts that it really doesn't matter. Again, I really think that, I mean, I when I built that lower and put it on my upper and went to the range and took the first few shots with it, the first thing that went through my mind was, holy crap, it actually works. And the second one is like, and I know it's not a big deal to assemble a lower, okay? But it was like, damn, I did this. This is awesome. It was like Legos for grown-ups, man. It was like that, like one of those little sets you put together, and it's like, holy crap, this is sweet. And then I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to do another one. But again, part of it is if money's ever part of the equation, it's like, okay, but this was $20 more. I could have just bought the exact same thing already ready. But part of it was I had some of you guys hook me up with some parts. I had, money that was donated to the channel, so I bought the lower receiver with it. So it wasn't that bad, but if I had to go buy it up straight up outright, but it was cool putting it together and actually having it function. That was just a neat feeling. I don't know what it was. Something I don't really experience much with a firearm.
How many horror stories have you heard where somebody's put one together and had problems with it?
Probably not that many with the lower. I mean, there's good tutorials out there with the right tools.
Not as many as the successes.
Let me rephrase this. How many of them put them together and the gun stayed the same as it was when they put together forever?
Me?
I mean, I'm totally confident what I did that it's not going to have any issues. I just basically used all the parts that PSA would have used anyway. I tapped all the pins in properly, used the correct pin punches and starter punches and all that stuff. Now, what about assembling the upper? Squib, have you've assembled your own uppers before, or do you buy pre?
No, I buy the pre-made uppers. I've had somebody tell me that it's really not that bad, and after you kind of get your first one done, you go, okay, now I got it, and I believe that because that's the way it's been with a lot of stuff. Is once you get over that hump. For me, I don't want the hassle, but at some point I will start doing that. Actually, it's like casting bullets. I don't do that yet, but I have an intention to do that at a certain point. There's things I just haven't got into, but it's not because I'm just crossing my arms and stamping my foot and going no further. It's just I barely have time for the stuff I'm doing right now. But
Hey, Squib.
Hmm.
I'll give you a tip on the cast and bullets. That's a wintertime garage door open type thing.
Let's put it this way, Travis. By assembling the upper, first AR I ever fired was the one I hand assembled myself. First part I bought was, a barrel and a bolt. Not an assembly, nothing assembled, and then was able to go from there. And with a few tutorials, was able to figure out how to do it. So I mean, it's not that complicated.
Nope.
And then just get yourself a decent set of go no go gauges. So that way you can confirm everything is the bolt is locking up correctly. So everything's in battery. And I took it out to the range. No gassing issues. No other. Everything worked great. Only issue with it the first time around was I had no idea what I was using a set of UTG flip up sights that I can't remember who it was. It was one of the gun channels guys suggested to me. I think it was Dead Horse actually, and I had no idea where they were going to hit. So I was just like, okay, sure. A standard firearm safety. You're aiming down range and nothing in front of you. It's like, all right, let's see where this one hits. And it was significantly off from where I thought it was, and had to start picking adjustments.
I'd say if you want to get one that's already made up and ready to go, get it. But for me, it's just not my thing. I built my first one not out of necessity, not out of that I really wanted to put one together. I built my because of cost. I did mine during AWB. And I'll be damned if I'm paying $1,200 for a stock AR-15. Okay, especially when it's a $400 gun. Now, if I trick it out and put $1,200 into it, that's a different story. But then after all that stuff, there are a lot more manufacturers out there making a lot more options, and I could customize them for each member of my family, or I could customize it for whatever caliber I want, or I could customize it for whatever function that it's going to primarily do. Now, you can buy one out of the box and just start taking parts off of it and swapping them out, or you can just buy all the parts and do it yourself. I don't see how, I don't understand the whole Glock thing, Glock perfection, and then what's the first thing they do? They tear the gun apart and replace every single part of it. So I don't get it. It's the same thing with an AR-15.
Yeah, that's my point right there. I don't got any problem with anybody.
But Tony, that's why I build them. I build them right the first time.
Boob Sweat says that building one teaches you the functionality of the AR, which is something I think people need to know. Yeah, I mean, that, especially diagnosing problems, or if you have issues with the gun or somebody's having problems with it, you can usually trace down what's causing it. Now, Calaveras, let's talk about this real quick. Since you've done this upper build, or you guys that have done an upper build, special tools required, what do you need to do?
A drill press. Well, you could do it with a hand drill, a portable drill, but that's really about a drill, a vice block, and then your armor wrench, how to do the rest. That's it.
Well, that's
alignment. I think they've got Brownells has an alignment pin right there for the gas tube, right?
That's for Squib. What would you be using the drill press for? Let me just clarify that real quick.
For the where you put in the pin on the front sight.
Okay, that's for if you're running the A2 front sight, yes. I went with I can't think of the name of it. One of the
gas block.
Yeah, one of the low profile gas blocks that's underneath the handguard, and it was I need to do the bomb-proof install on it still, so I haven't drilled it and put the pin in it, but it is held on there currently with 2 set screws, so that's where it didn't actually need to be drilled. It will eventually be that way because I want to do it for a little extra reliability, a little extra make sure. But depending on what parts you buy, it doesn't necessarily have to be drilled. I assembled it because I bought bought the upper, put the charging handle in it, this kind of forward assist, and everything else in it. I had a torque wrench in order to, so when I torqued down the barrel nut, I torqued it to the correct spec.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But essentially, the the vice block to hold it. Which the vice block I went with, it was one of those. On one end, it can go into the receiver, well for working on the lower. You flip it over, and it has the part that locks into your barrel extension, where your bolt locks into, so that way it holds it all together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one block that does, put it on there, aligned everything up, torqued it down, and it was pretty much ready to go. It was, a very simple, I think the vice block, was $40, and I think I had about a $40, foot-pound torque wrench, or inch-pound torque wrench. I can't remember which off the top of my head, but, and those were basically the only two tools that I needed.
We've got a couple guys chiming in on the GunTube side. Patrick says, I've built 2 AR rifle uppers and lowers. It's so easy to do. They both shoot fantastic. Patrick says, I'm working on my 3rd build in an AR pistol over on the YouTube side. Ronald Robertson says, I built mine piece by piece over a 9-month period. It's a PSA and 5.56 NATO with a 16-inch stainless steel barrel. Purchased an A2 carry handle from Bafe, and it's good. $488. So, tool costs aside, and if you already have the tools, then it doesn't really matter. You're basically looking about the same. What gets me every time is I keep thinking to myself, I'll just go ahead and make my own. I'll make my own, and then I get the $200 fully assembled upper with a bolt carrier group and charge handle from PSA, a nice mid-length 16-inch, and then the assembled lower with the Magpul furniture on it for $129 on sale or $149. It's like, God, it's hard to want to make one. I guess if you want to do it just to learn how to do it, I would say definitely go ahead and do it.
You can customize it though when you do it. You can make your own upper, unlike any upper that you can buy pre-made. That's the appeal for me. I mean, the cost of making them pre-made, the uppers that are ready to go, it's fairly affordable versus buying all the components. The same thing you're talking about with the lowers, buying a fully assembled lower with everything done and the stock on it. It costs about the same as buying all the parts and paying for the receiver and doing it yourself. So the appeal for that is, for me, really is picking the exact barrel I want, picking the exact sight combination, whatever it is that I want on there, getting rid of some of the high-tech looking rails and garbage on there and just making it look like an M4, with the handguards that nobody likes, but they'll come back like bell bottoms.
You start building them for your whole family, man. You ain't got time to do all that.
I built 4 in a month and a half, and that was part-time in it. It wasn't like Calabar said, I've got to have it. I have never had a gun where I've said, I've got to have this. I mean, not that I didn't see it at the show and said, I don't care what this guy wants for it, I'm buying it. I'm saying that, like, I need a gun tomorrow. I've never had
There's only been one for me that I had to have. I paid for it cash up front before it was even, before I saw it. And that was at $45.70.
And for me, it's not that it's an AR-15. It's that it's any gun. If I had to build it to make it the way I wanted it, or build it to make it affordable, or build it because they only sell it as a kit, it wouldn't be like, man, I need this thing now. It's like, I don't care. It takes a year or two, whatever. But I mean, everybody's different. Some of these questions that come in are really about preference. They're not. And I'm just wondering, is somebody just, do they have no preference at all? Or are they just trying to provoke something?
Here's the thing.
A lot of times the question is, somebody's new to something and they're like, I've got $400. Should I build or buy? Oh, okay.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, that's where, when it comes to the ARs, hold on a second, Tony, I'm sorry. If you're going with a 5.56 16-inch barrel with the the standard, the forearm that everybody runs, whatnot, basically the PSA set, then I don't know if it's really necessarily worth going through the effort of building it yourself. If that's what you really want, then you can buy it, without having to put in the extra, and then you can do whatever you want to it later. If you want something out of the ordinary, I guess I'll say, even though there isn't really a quote-unquote ordinary when it comes to ARs, because they are the grown-ups, Legos, then maybe doing it yourself, so that way you don't buy it, and then as soon as it hits your door, you're yanking parts off and buying new parts and throwing it on, and having spares laying around. Like with mine, like I said, I have 20-inch heavy barrel. I went with a 17-inch free float handguard, so it covers most of the barrel, because so many of the ones I was finding were, the length of them were sized for more of a 16-inch barrel or something like that. So finding one to cover a 20-inch barrel was a little tricky.
Yeah.
So that's just that if you want to be like an idiot like me and decide to build something that's off in left field somewhere, then you're probably not gonna buy that ready to go off the shelf. You're probably gonna have to build it. If you're going for something a little more sane, then you probably have the option of going either way, and then it's hard to say which one's actually more economic.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're not mechanically inclined at all, if you can't screw in a light bulb or do an oil change, yeah, it's probably not a good idea to put one together. If you are just, you're not a self-starter, you just want to go out and throw lead down range. If you're the kind of person who buys steel cased ammo, yeah, probably just get it out of the box at the store.
Here's the thing with me. I spent 35 years putting stuff together, repairing it. It was an actual compromise within myself to reload, to go back into it, because I didn't want to do any of that stuff anymore. Now, absolutely, they don't pay me enough money to buy ammo that I have, so there was no real choice there. But if I could afford to, I probably would and wouldn't reload.
Here's the thing, though. If you go to the store and you buy the gun on sale, if you order it off of Palmetto State on sale, DS Arms, Delton, Anderson, whatever, and you get it and you go out and you start throwing lead and you really like it, and then after a while you go, I don't like this trigger, or I don't like this grip, or I want to change these sights, or this stock just doesn't feel right, or I don't like the color of this, and you start putting money into it like a Glock. Don't come back to me and say, hey man, why didn't you warn me? Because I have a feeling, though, that if you have no experience shooting an AR-15, though, before you go buy one, maybe if you've got some gun buddies, shoot one of theirs. A lot of people have got multiple ones. If you're at the range, if you see somebody there, if you're at the kind of range where you can just go up to somebody and talk to somebody, just ask them. They'll let you. A lot of people, at least at the range I'm at, they're very friendly. And if you say, hey, man, I'm really looking to get into one of these, but I've never shot one. The other thing I would give you as far as getting experience with AR-15s before you buy or build or start getting AR-15s your own, if you're young enough, enlist. They'll teach you everything you need to know, and then you'll get out with the chip on your shoulder.
And incidentally, if you're listening to this chat or you listen to it later, I did warn you.
You did warn what?
I said I did warn them.
Oh, you did warn them. Okay. Dan the Man Garcia sums it up for us here. He says it can be, and if you do it your way, will be more expensive than off the rack, but you made it your way. And that's just part of it too, is you can choose the quality of the components that you want, and you can tailor it your way. Again, it is just like customizing a vehicle. When I built my PC that I'm doing this show on right now, I bought good quality components. I did some research into how reliable they were going to be. I invested. It cost me more than if I just bought an off-the-rack PC, but I got good quality components, and here I am 4 years into this machine, and it still is a trailblazer.
Now, Travis, if you go from that standpoint, now I follow where you're going. Now I'm figuring out what you're. Okay, so my first computer was given to me, and it was a piece of crap, and I said never again. So the next computer I bought brand new at Best Buy. Bad idea. It was stock, and it just didn't do what I want. So the next one, I decided I'll order it off of Dell, and I'll do that whole customized thing where I want this component, that component, and I got it in. It cost me a lot of money, but when the thing started breaking down, to buy the parts from Dell was ridiculous when you could buy them aftermarket. Then come to find out, Dell doesn't like stuff that isn't proprietary on their computer. Hitting F1 every time you start it, it's a pain in the ass. So I said, screw this. I'm going to build my next one. If I can fix a car and put together an AR-15, I can build a computer. Come to find out, it's really not that hard to do. Ever since then, I've been building, and I can just take the same case and strip it down and upgrade it every time I need to. Mine's past due for an upgrade. But once I started doing that, I said, I will never go back to this. So if you've never had an AR-15 before, you've never shot one before, you have no preference, go down to Dick's and buy your AR-15 or whatever. But then after you get it, the next one, maybe you might want to customize it, or if you don't order it a little bit somewhat customized, maybe you can just start doing it yourself. But there are tons of resources out there to learn how to take this thing apart and change out stuff. I put my first one together with a military manual, a pair of channel locks, a hammer, and a punch. That was it. There was no YouTube back when I did it the first time, so it's not that hard.
Yeah, so I mean, and again, there's a lot of good tutorials out there, and luckily with things like GunTube and Gunstreamer and UGEtube, we've got places where you can go to get those assembly videos. There are assembly videos on YouTube, and I'm surprised they're still up. There's some. I built my lower off of an assembly video I watched 5 years ago, and that video was still up 5 years later, and the guy still posted comments saying, "Man, I can't believe you people still watch this." And it was one of the better lower assembly videos out there. It's one of the first ones that'll pop up if you do any kind of a search. So there's, great instructions, step-by-step instructions, just like the computers. You can type in however much you want to spend. You can type in the kind of computer you want to build. And if you do a search anywhere, you'll find video tutorials out there for just that. In fact, I was looking at a $200 budget PC build from 2019 this morning, and there's 24 videos on YouTube for it. So the instructions are out there. Get the right stuff. As for answering the question, should you build versus buy? I guess a big part of it is if you want the convenience, just buy one that's pre-made. There's a lot of the good entry-level ARs that are out there. If you want to choose the parts that go into the gun, you can always upgrade too, but you might find yourself spending money upgrading all these parts that already came on the gun, whereas in the first place you should have just bought it that way. But then again,
save your parts. Save your old parts.
What's that?
Save your old parts.
Yes, but then you're left with a pile of old parts that you can use for your next rifle build. So, you've got a lot of options there too. So
then you can upgrade it all over again.
Yeah.
What you do with your old parts is if you ever do a build and you got the receiver and you're able to cobble together these old parts, you might be able to build an affordable or inexpensive gun for somebody else who wants to get into it, but they just don't have a lot of money or they don't know what they want. And you just take all your stuff, you make a Frankenstein, you give it to them, go do whatever you want. Here's your, and it's affordable way for you to utilize these parts and to get somebody into it. And then if they go, man, I don't like this, I don't like that, then they start changing it out, and then but it didn't cost them any money to start with. Anytime you can use what you've got to get somebody into shooting, it's a good thing. Anytime you can pass on, like Travis, some of the stuff that you've got for reloading that you're doubled up on. If somebody wants to get into reloading and you go, I got 2 of these, I can give 1 of these away. You're just helping somebody get, you know what I mean?
You realize you're describing the etymology of a disease.
You mean this isn't?
By the way, Squib, Midnight Range out there was saying that if they wanted to get into something, they just got to let you know, and then you'll just send the parts to them, and then they'll be ready to go. So you'll get them set up on it.
I've got some Palmetto State Armory made in China parts that anybody can have if they want.
So, hey, we need to go back and correct ourselves in something that was said in this chat, and it didn't exactly create a firestorm on the YouTube side, but yeah, Dick Sports, Keith Gregory says they don't carry AR-15s anyway. Remember, that's not the place you want to go.
I was being facetious when I said that.
Oh, I didn't know. Seriously, we're just, anywhere but there, basically.
They probably will.
It was the sarcasm.
Yeah, I understand. So no, I hear you, man. I hear you. So, again, if you're the kind of person that's comfortable working with tools, or you just want the experience of doing it, start doing a lower. And if you can handle doing the lower, then, there's going to be other things you're going to need to build that upper. There's going to be a bit more of an investment. If you want to make more than one, then, invest in the tools, learn how to do it the right way, and then just build your own from there on out if you want to go that route. I'm sure you can take your time sourcing the parts, where you can do it for less than the price of buying what's pre-assembled.
I know it probably doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyways just to be that guy. If you build an AR-15 yourself, remember, you're going to have to buy magazines. Because if you buy one, fully complete. It comes with magazines most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time it'll come with something. I don't know if the PSA guns do or not, but
I think some of the PSA guns may come with 1 or 2 mags.
yeah.
If you buy a complete one. Now, if you buy a parts one, yeah, it's not going to come with any magazines, so you're going to have to buy them if you build
Just talking about the magazines, nothing wrong with the Steel GI mags. They're awesome. I do recommend you get the ones that have the Magpul followers in them. That's just my opinion. Real quick before we move away from ARs, are there any brands of magazines people should stay away from? You guys have any? Yeah.
Yeah, I forget the name of the company, but they use the Zyxel mags.
What is it? There's Hex mags.
Thermold.
There's Lancer.
Stay away from Thermold.
Thermal's a company or what?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I haven't. I've
Thermold. It's a plastic mag.
Yeah.
It looks like a Magpul. I've got a couple, but I don't think I've ever used them.
I have some, and I've used them, and they're garbage. Stay away from Thermold mags.
I know the people that say the aluminum mags are crap or the GI mags are crap. They're a bunch of kids that after they were born, they started making plastic mags, so they don't know any different because, back in the day, there were no plastic. It took a lot for me to get a Magpul mag, despite the fact that the company is owned by a Marine, despite the fact that they were in business for a while. Now everybody's getting these Magpul mags and manufacturers are shipping complete firearms with Magpul mags. I'm like, man, I cannot bring myself to get a plastic mag. And it's my age. Well, I eventually got a plastic mag and I go, okay, they're not bad. I still prefer the aluminum ones. I would rather have an aluminum steel or stainless steel mag over a plastic one, but I've got plenty of the plastic ones too. But I think it's when you were born is it's kind of like the A1 furniture. The A1 furniture was the old crappy stuff. Nobody wanted that. Everybody wanted the A2 furniture. And I mean, dude, I could get M16A1 parts, the handguards and the stock and the pistol grip all day long at the gun show for next to nothing. Now people are paying through the nose to get reproductions of this crap. That's why I was saying that the A2 stuff will come back. The GI type handguards and whatnot will come back like bell bottoms because it just seems to circle back around. And it's real funny how sometimes you go to the gun show and there's just tons and tons of this stuff and it's dirt cheap. And 20 years later, you can't find it anywhere. It's just weird how it works out like that. Like the $99 Mosin Nagant's gone. We're never going to see that again, Yeah. But back in the day, it's like, what do I want another Mosin for? Little did we know, right?
AC97 says, Pro Mag, please remember our magazines are garbage. A handy backronym to remember. Frank,
I haven't had any issues with them.
That's from The Graduate, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I thought. Blue Steel. What's that?
I haven't had issues with Pro Mag.
Now, if you get the new production steel magazines, isn't it pretty much the standard that they come with Magpul followers? From what I've seen from a lot of the brands that are out there, is that?
I don't know, but I don't have an issue with GI followers, so I.
Well, I mean, no, in the GI mags, they're using Magpul followers. Just the design is an anti-tilt design. Yeah, so William and
I've
mags all day long.
I've gotten a ton of old GI mags, and I've just replaced all the followers with the Magpul followers because they're cheap. You can buy like a pack of like 4 or 5 of them for like $5.
We didn't get jams in our M16s from the mags. We got our jams in the M16 there at the bolt, especially when you put it on burst. We never really had feeding issues with and believe me, you go down to the armory and they hand you your mags. These things look old and beat up. And it's like, how many wars have these things been through? And we didn't really have issues with the mags. It was all in the action where the jams would come from. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to rebuilding it. And I've got some of the Magpul stuff. I've got some different spring kits too, because every now and then something gets a little bit beat up and it's kind of nice to be able to rebuild them as opposed to just toss them away. But I haven't had these issues that everybody's talking about.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here. Paper Plane Crash gave us a few suggestions here. Taped up channel locks, #1 tool needed, LOL. Thermolds and Pro Mags are junk, no matter what gun they're for. Yeah, I don't even know if I've got. I might have. No, I've got Tapco. I got Tapco AK-47 mags for my for my AK. But
You're welcome.
Yeah, now I'm thinking I want to take these things to the range and try them out and just see how bad they are.
Oh, I have. I've done videos on. I've done magazine tests before. I think I did a 4 or 5 magazine test on my AK. I've done 4 or 5 different brands of magazines on my ARs. I've done videos on them before. I mean, I never had any issues with any of them not working, but you know, that's not really long-term testing either. So, yeah.
All
right.
Cool. Steel AK mags.
What's that?
Just don't use those steel AK mags from Croatia.
Yeah, no, those Croatian ones. No, you know, those would probably work in my SKS rifle, though. Now I'm kind of upset that I gave those to you because I could probably be using them in that.
Well,
I got the SKS Sporter. What's that?
You don't want them now; they're mine.
I know. No, I got when I got this this SKS that I acquired recently. I got 10 magazines with it, so it's good. They're like
So
Bulgarian, Romanian mags, and what's that?
It takes AK mags.
Yeah, the Sporter model, that was the trade-off, is you lost the flash hider and the bayonet lug, but it does have a factory Norinco. It's a Norinco magazine welted to put AK mags in it. It won't take polymer mags worth the damn, but it'll run fine on any kind of steel surplus mags.
Now, Travis, there's another thing. Back in the day, tons of SKSs, they're well under $100, and nobody wanted the Norincos. They were Chinese junk. And then something happened and everything flipped, and now it's like, if your SKS isn't Chinese, it's not cool. It's like, what? Did I miss the boat?
Here's the deal with the Sporter that I have. It's got the thumbhole stock. Yeah, people call it the butthole stock. I actually find it comfortable myself.
Yeah, the thumbhole is actually comfortable to shoot with.
That model, that SKS Sporter, when that was manufactured between 90 and 95, something like that, you know, nobody wanted it because it was, you know, it didn't have the features on it, right? Now that model, because there was about 40,000 of them, I think, that were 45,000 that were produced and sold in the U.S. from what I've seen, from what I've looked up on it. You know, a regular SKS, just a standard issue SKS Yugo or whatnot, is $400 or $500. These Sporter models are going upwards to $750 or $800. That's why I bought it. Just part of it is the collectability of it. It's the gun that nobody wanted, and now it's the one that's got the higher price because they weren't as popular. So there's less of them.
Right. It's crazy how that works out like that.
Yeah, the one that has less capability and less possibilities for it's actually the one that brings a higher value. And I mean, the resale is not a big deal, but for the rifle I was trading, I wanted to get something that was going to hold its value or increase in value, so I didn't feel like I was losing money on the deal. And the fact it takes AK mags is just sweet. Now, here's the cool thing about that little Sporter. There's a really good aftermarket for it, just like there is for regular SKSs, for stocks. So I can do the plastic. Who makes it? ATI or whoever? I'm not sure who makes it. The stock conversions for SKS rifles. I can go that route because of the amount of parts that go on it. It keeps 922R compliance. There's also a guy on Etsy who hand carves wooden stocks for a lot of commie rifles, ARs, AKs. If you just go to Etsy and type in SKS, his shop will pop up, and they start at $110 for a finished stock, and there's like 6 different wood choices. And it's designed for you to be able to take your Sporter out of that thumbhole stock, bolt it right in, and you're good to go. Now, the thing about that is he makes a Dragunov style and also a thumbhole stock too. I don't know if I have to keep that in a thumbhole stock if I decide to put it in a traditional, just long stock, non-thumbhole stock, non-pistol grip stock, because he makes a beautiful one that was made for the pre-90 models, because there was also some Sporters out there that did not come with a thumbhole stock. It was a Paratrooper model or Model D, I think is what they were called.
So those features were to be compliant with assault weapons ban. Since the assault weapons ban is gone, the features aren't the issue. But because it's imported, you wanted to have it 922R, which means it has to have so many components have to be American made. It doesn't matter which ones they are. It's just how many. Was it 6?
If I put it on that new stock that does not have the thumbhole,
and that stock is American made, you're probably above compliance.
That's only one part, though, because if you get the ATI stock, they say that you get 922R compliance because it's considered 3 components. Because
all right.
The stock, the pistol grip, and the actual handguard stock, whatever you want to call it, the butt stock, the handguard, and the pistol grip all make it. So I'm like, I want to get that single paratrooper style. Not that I'm worried about it, because if I did that conversion, I don't know if it'd be illegal or not, but I like the look of it a lot better than the thumbhole stock. But again, the thumbhole stock is actually fine. It's been wrapped with a little cushy grip on it and stuff, and it's not bad. I just haven't taken it to the range yet, but it's just holding it and kind of messing around with it. It's not a bad little gun. Maybe I'll show it off next week on Caliber Corner. We can just kind of talk about it. But anyway, let's go on to the next topic before I forget. Go-to hunting guns. Okay, so if this doesn't apply to you, you can pass on this, or maybe you could share what you think would be your go-to gun. So this was a viewer request. What are our go-to hunting guns for certain kinds of game? If you don't hunt with this, or if you're just not a hunter, or if you were maybe thinking about buying one in this caliber, what would you go with? So Night Strike, question for you.
Uh-oh.
If you were to go deer hunting, Night Strike, what would be your go-to hunting gun for deer? Let's just assume you could get the magazine. What would be your go-to gun, ideally, for deer?
Probably something in 30 caliber.
Okay. Would it be, say, a 30-30, or what do you think?
You know, a 30-30 or a 308.
And again, this is going to, you can say, well, my state law doesn't allow this or doesn't allow that. Well, there are states that do,
No, if I wanted to, once I get the risers from my scope, that Aegis scope is ridiculous on the C308. But once I get the, riser for it, I could literally just take that to go hunting in South Carolina.
5-round magazine. Is there a magazine?
There's no restrictions.
Wow. Okay. There you go. Okay. So you got that. That'd be what you do. Squib, what about you?
You know what they say? God bless the South.
What's that?
You know what they say? God bless the South.
There you go. There you go, man. Squib, what do you think, man? What's your go-to for deer hunting?
If I didn't have any of these BS DNR laws in my way,
yeah,
M1 Garand.
Okay. That'd be the one that you can. Why don't you come here and you can come use it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd hand load my own 150 grain soft points with a military powder load behind it, and if I had more vacation time, believe me, your late antlerless is after ours is over, so I could hypothetically bag another deer.
Mm-hmm.
If I had more vacation time, I'd go. I'd probably come up there with my wife's blessing, but I better come back with some meat, or else I'm dead meat.
Bring her with. The wives can go shopping or do what they do,
She'd be out there blind with me too if it wasn't cold.
All right, that's cool. That's cool.
Wives are always wanting you to bring them the meat.
There you go. Okay, so then you got the M1. Tony, what would be your go-to for deer? What would you use?
Probably the 44 lever.
44 lever gun. Okay, that'll work. Cool.
It's really handy to carry. It's not that heavy, and it handles well in the woods. It's really natural. Although I have guns that are probably better suited for taking deer at distance, I don't intend to. 45-70, I think, is way over freaking kill on deer.
I don't know. I think it depends on the size and the distance you're looking at. I mean, we've got some freaking huge muleys out here and whitetails out here that are, you might want that takedown power. We're talking about some pretty good sized deer here.
If you check out the hunting ranges of the 45-70, it's really not that much better than 44 Magnum.
Okay.
Just because it has such a drop.
Yeah.
So I would probably choose the 44 Magnum because that, like I said, that's a really good round.
Yeah.
Me picking the M1 Garand isn't that I don't like my Henry. I love that Henry rifle, but if I could hunt with 30-06 with that particular platform, I mean, you can't miss with iron sights with that thing. So,
Night Strike could.
Well,
God. Now, come on.
Well, you know what? All I can say is at least I wouldn't need a full mag to kill a deer.
Ooh. Now, hold on.
Wait a minute. Now, that wasn't Squib that was jabbing you.
All right. So, for me, my go-to deer gun is going to be the Ruger Ranch chambered in 7.62 by 39. Yeah, I know it's limited to, say, 250 yards and less, but I love that thing. It's awesome. I know how it shoots. It's comfortable. I am currently working on, I've got the Vortex Diamondback HP scope over here. I'm going to put that on the Mossberg Patriot and take that out. I just wasn't happy with the accuracy of that thing. So we're going to get that tuned, and I'm going to find the right round for that in 6.5 Creedmoor and see what it does. That could be my next go-to for deer. Go ahead, Tony.
When you finish, I need to clarify what I said. Because
Dude, go ahead. I'm done on my deer rifle. Mine would be the Ruger Ranch. Yeah.
As far as the 44 over some Spritzer 30-06 bullet, which I do have a 30-06, where I go to hunt, almost 100% of the time is dense forest. So the odds of me taking a shot more than 30, 35 yards is rare, exceptionally rare. And it just, because it's so dense, the shorter, easy handling carbine is way better for me. And that's why I went there instead of 30-06, because I have a 30-06 that I love. But it's really not as practical in the woods as the 44 Magnum.
Yeah. I have a question on the YouTube side here. Tacos and French Fries says, Travis, you should have got a Thompson Center Compass 6.5. Why go with the Mossberg? My first bolt action rifle was a synthetic stock 30-06 Mossberg that I bought back in the early 2000s, and I can't remember what the model is. I don't think they make it anymore. I've been fine with it. Price really wasn't the biggie. I was deciding if I wanted to go with the Howa, which would have been about another $200 for the package I was looking at, and the Thompson was a little bit cheaper. I don't have any experience with the Thompson Center rifles, and I'm sure they're absolutely fine, but the Mossbergs have always been good guns. I've owned several. I have several, and so, just as a rifle, I just kind of going off the tradition of already owning one, I decided to go with that brand. But, the Thompson Centers are cheap enough, too. I could always pick one up. Man, they were $249, I think, around the holidays on Cabela's website after rebate. So, you can save quite a bit.
I keep an eye on rifles because I get the NRA magazines and several other magazines.
Yeah.
The best entry-level rifle in performance is the Savage Axis.
Yes.
I mean, it is clearly above everybody else.
Yeah.
If you look at the data that they print in these magazines.
They make a heck of a rifle, man. I've got two 222s, just bolt actions, just the Mark II Fs, and one of them's got an optic and one's just iron sights. And I love those little guns, man. Yeah, and they're larger rifles too, and they are, you can get there's 4 or 5 different choices you have at that sub $350 price point, just talking the rifle without any optics. So you've got a lot of options out there. I guess I just did the Mossberg because I like the brand. Just did some reading on some of the reviews on it, but again, nothing against the Thompson, nothing against the Savage. They're all good choices, great choices. A lot of it depends on, you just got to get to know the gun and know what ammo runs best with it and which optic to run with it. So now what about, I don't know if do you guys do any turkey hunting at all? Would you ever do any turkey hunting? What would you, because the guy said,
I want to.
You want to? Okay. Squibb, have you looked into any guns at all for turkey hunting?
I'll use that Mossberg, that 835.
Yeah. Now,
but here's the thing. I don't know what choke to put in this damn thing because I don't know jack about shotguns.
Hey, mine came with 5 different chokes, and I've got a turkey choke tube that's designed. Mine can take 3.5-inch Magnum rounds, and so they do have a turkey choke.
Mine came with a choke. I have no idea what kind of choke it is, and then I bought a choke that I could use with buckshot for it. Otherwise, I'm going in there with no clue.
Think about it. You've got to get, if you're doing, obviously, we're talking about a headshot here, right? You've only got a couple, you don't have a huge area. You probably want to go with something as tight as possible because you could be going, I don't know how far some guys take their shots. You could be going as far as, I suppose, 30 or 40 yards, maybe 50. So you want something that's going to keep a nice tight group all the way.
You want extra full
time, so I really can't comment on it, but I got an 835 too that I love.
You want extra full. That's basically what a turkey choke is.
I'll say that's what the turkey choke is probably an extra full choke because it's going to keep that shot together, right?
Full will work, but you probably want to bring your BB size up a little.
Yeah. And you can spend whatever you want on ammo for
the irony is that the Michigan DNR on their website has a free turkey target that you can print to help you get a neck shot, right? But at the DNR range that I go, you're not allowed to use shot. You cannot use buckshot or fine shot on the rifle range. You can only use slug. They do have a skeet range, but you can't put targets out that are the height of a turkey. You actually have to throw your clay. So they don't have a DNR range near me where I can use the DNR target to practice ethically killing this turkey. So,
And that's ridiculous, dude. That's ridiculous.
yeah, but hey, I'll just drive further out or something like that at a certain point, or I'll just go to Dusty's farm and just practice. But at some point, I want to go turkey hunting, and I guess I'll get a Carlson's extra full for a Mossberg 835. And I mean, these chokes are running like $60 a whack, so I don't want to end up buying 10 chokes and I only needed one. So
yeah, that's true.
I got
Tony or Night Strike, you guys want to chime in on that at all? What do you guys think about? Would you ever? Yeah,
I'm planning to seriously consider turkey hunting because they dropped the price of a permit from $25 to $15, which is cheaper than I can buy a damn turkey at the store. So it's feasible now. I will take my 45-year-old Savage 67 out there with its full choke, and it'll do.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I mean, you got to remember, our forefathers were hunting with these things before we had all these fancy, turkey Magnum Express rounds or whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of, it doesn't. I think sometimes we're overdoing it or overthinking the equation, but obviously,
yeah. But I think we use our technology to make up for the fact that our forefathers didn't have the DNR breathing down their throat. And I'm not saying we should hunt something to extinction,
to walk out in the
be
backyard,
reckless and be shooting near somebody's house, or stupid, just blast at anything that moves and hope it ain't a hunter. I'm not saying any of that, but our forefathers didn't have hunting seasons. They didn't have somebody there going, "That's the right caliber, that's the right barrel length, that's the right," whatever it is, right? They just went out there and did it. So if they missed in the morning, they could get one in the afternoon, and if they didn't get one in the afternoon, they can go out the next day, and they didn't have to go, "Oh, well, sorry, season's over today." I mean, so it's a trade-off.
Think about that forefathers thing, though. Back, a couple hundred years ago, they had a 58 caliber flintlock, and probably that was the only gun they had. They most likely did not have shot for it. I mean, because you figured these people had to make their bullets because you didn't have a Cabela's. So
that would be something, Tony. Ye old Cabela's.
Is that like ye old PSA?
Yeah. Well, that's what they had down in Charleston in the South Carolina colony was ye old PSA.
Right.
But up in Massachusetts and Boston, they had ye old Cabela's.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Night Strike, would you ever do any turkey hunting at all? Would you ever consider that?
I just need to get a permit.
Okay, yeah. So you got the woods right out in your backyard, man. You could be calling them right up to your front porch.
No, I can't call up the front porch. But I mentioned this before, and you probably have heard it before. But there is wild turkey in the woods behind my house.
Oh yeah,
because I see them come out into my backyard to eat bugs and whatnot all the damn time.
Oh yeah. Here in Nebraska, man, we've had them just literally walk down the friggin' sidewalk.
I've got wild turkey in my liquor cabinet.
There you go.
No, I mean real turkey. I don't mean liquor turkey.
Yeah.
Let's take this a step farther. If you, especially, this is pointed towards squib more than anything, but it works for everybody. You're going to get a turkey call. Now, as a kid, I was taught to use a turkey call.
Here, I'll go get mine real quick.
Okay, so here, the turkey call for me would have a dual purpose. One, it would be for turkey hunting. And two, I've been told that when you're walking out to your blind in the dark, that if you want to cover up the sound of you moving around, you use the turkey call every so often so the deer think it's just some turkey walking through the woods or the field or whatever.
I'll be damned. I've never heard of that. That's a good idea.
See what I got in my turkey bucket. No, I actually threw a bunch of my deer stuff in here too, but
if it ain't
someplace, yeah.
If it ain't wood and chalk or slate, whatever they call
it
them,
is. Is she in here? I think so. Yeah. Got on my camo. Oh yeah, here we go.
If I order a turkey call off Amazon, I'm going to order at the same time I get a javelina call. So
They make
Turkey
calls for
call
about
for-
everything.
This is a Little Strut Natural Silencer Plus. This guy. Yeah. See if I can get my dog to come down here.
Old dude down in Missouri told me a long time ago that about all you got to do is make them squeak with it.
What's that, Tony?
That's it, yeah. Only that's pretty crappy use.
Well, I haven't busted it out for a while, but yeah. I've got a little scratch pad too that you can use that does the same thing, but no. Let's check this
the
out.
deer stand's a good idea. Everybody needs to make a note of that one.
What's that, Tony?
That using it on your way to your deer stand's a good idea. Everybody should make a note of that.
Cover up the noise. Yeah.
The first time I went deer hunting last year, when we're walking out there, he was giving me all kinds of pointers on the way out. I really appreciate all the help I got from my buddy Nick and from Dusty. But there's something he said, and I remember I could hear, because there was neighbors' property on either side of us, and I could hear, and I'm like, I don't think that's really a turkey. I think that is a turkey call. You could hear on one side somebody was using that as they were going out, and then on the other side you could hear the guy driving out the ATV, and it's like, yeah, keep making noise, drive them over this way.
Send them our way, man. We'll take it.
I'll tell you what, though, if you have a chance to be in the woods near a flock of turkeys, they are pretty noisy, especially at just before daylight.
Yeah,
they're starting to get ready to come out of roost.
I used to work right next door to Chrysler headquarters, and there's turkey all in the woods around there, and they would be walking through the parking lot, and they chase away the geese, and I'm glad, because the geese just make a mess everywhere.
Yeah,
Those geese will not mess with them turkeys. But one day I saw the turkey. He looked at the clear coat on the car and could see his reflection, and was trying to get at the side of the car. And then he starts chasing his reflection around the car. And he's just doing laps around this car with his face right there up against the door, against the fascia, against the door again. And he's just doing it. We're all watching and going, they really are that stupid.
I rolled up in my car. I was kind of out in the country a little bit. They were crossing the road. And so I stopped, and a couple of the toms looked at me and they came in my car and started like charging. I'm like, put in reverse and backed up. I'm like, I'm not gonna run these guys over, I should have. I could have just taken them home and made dinner that night. But I was like, they're just like, I mean, they're friggin' tall. When they get pissed, they're coming right at you, man. They're like 4 feet tall, man. When they get upset,
that's why you carry a fistful of shot rounds for your revolver.
Oh yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. So here. Okay. Question. Now we got to talk about our next gun. Okay. Upland game bird, dove, partridge, quail, pheasant. What do you guys think? What works for you?
12 gauge with probably number 5 shot is my pick.
Okay. Squib, what about you, man? What would you do? Upland game bird gun.
I'd call Tony and ask him what to do.
Okay, well, Tony
I don't have any experience with that, but
Damn,
I'm not opposed.
Stole my answer.
I'm not opposed to hunting them. I mean, yeah, I don't have any experience with that yet.
We got prairie chickens out here in Nebraska too. They're pretty cool.
Number 5 shot, big enough.
Do you consider a pheasant an upland game bird?
Yes.
Okay, because I would be down for hunting pheasant because they taste good.
Steadley says the 870 Wingmaster 12 gauge.
Whatever 12 gauge you like, it don't matter.
Steadley says throw a 30-inch barrel on my Wingmaster. Hey, nice.
How about a Stevens 67E?
Okay,
that's what I'm going to take. Is 67.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I've got one with a 19-inch barrel though. So
yeah, Vanessa says a 12 gauge and a dove puff instant dove dust. Yeah, when I do dove hunting, I take my wife's Stoger Condor Youth model. It's so freaking light in 20 gauge. and it does have 2 choke tubes in the end of it, so I can run whatever I want.
Oh, 20
Vanessa?
gauge, Travis.
Dude, it is
Vanessa?
fun, man. A 20 gauge over under. That thing is just awesome. You could shoot all day.
12.
What?
Vanessa,
Not for Dove. That's overkill for Dove, dude.
Vanessa,
In my opinion.
Over unders are cool. They're you know,
it
somebody
is-
might
it
think
is
it's kind of
fun,
a
and they're
FUD gun, but
totally
go out and shoot
inexpensive.
one. They're great.
Nice trick. When you go out into these fields and you go walk miles, dude. I mean, you know you don't want to carry like a friggin' 9-pound shotgun if you don't have to. You try to go for something a little bit lighter. Yeah, the Stoker.
That's fine. That's fine. I just don't want to carry
20
anything other than 12.
20 is more
Back-
than adequate for Dove.
back to the dub thing. Vanessa, sweetie. Dubs are engineered by Winchester Olin Corporation to expend ammo and not take any home.
No, they're good eating, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
They're good eating, but it'd take you about a month of trips out to the game fields to get enough to eat.
Yeah, you'd be better off going to
Out here,
McDonald's and getting a
they're
20 piece.
everywhere out
you
here,
know?
dude. They're all over the place. I got NRD land.
Whoa,
about 8
whoa, whoa,
blocks away.
whoa. Is that the fabled McDuff?
What's that?
The script said you're better off going to McDonald's and getting a 20 piece, and I just have to ask you, that's the fabled McDuff.
I tell you, as I sit here, dub are the only bird that I've ever seen that I swear can dodge the shot coming at them.
They're a little agile little beasts, aren't they? Yeah. Oh man. All right. So now the next one that we got, go-to gun. Oh, waterfowl. I guess we could all agree, you know, just whatever 12 gauge, whatever we want to run with, whatever. I would just take my 835 because again, I've got all the choke tubes for it. It's reliable. It's good old pump. I mean, I'd love to invest in a nice semi-automatic shotgun, but I don't really do a whole lot of hunting anymore in terms of waterfowl.
Simple.
Ducks and geese. What's that?
Here's a simple solution. There ain't nothing out there that you hunt with shotgun that a 12 gauge won't work on.
Yeah. I definitely would want to go with something that'll take 3.5-inch Magnum rounds. Just to
Why?
make it as versatile as possible. So if you want to double it up as a turkey gun, you can do that too.
My 2 3/4 will kill turkeys.
No, I'm talking geese, Canadas, or snow.
Yeah, he's saying that if it'll take a 3.5 Magnum, it'll take a 2 3/4. He wants options.
Get it so it does. Get one that does take the 3.5. Just increase the flexibility all across the board. So that way you can use it. Yeah.
25, 30 years ago, they only had 3-inch Magnum. And before that, few years, it was 2 3/4.
Okay.
Nobody starved.
Oh no, I know. That's all about just maximizing your efficiency when you get out in the field.
Heck, geese, I can go out to Venado Lakes here and just pick them off the lake with 22.
They're actually having a little bit of a discussion on the 22 over on the YouTube side. All right, so now what about varmint? Coyote, I suppose hog. I don't consider hogs varmint, but you know, like what do you guys think about like any kind of varmint? What would be your go-to guns for that?
30-06.
There you go. That's what my grandpa used to do. They used to sit on the front patio of the farmhouse and shoot groundhogs with their 06s. I'd probably go, 5.56 or 223. Probably use the AR. Say coyote especially. What do you guys think?
I just said what I thought.
No, I was asking the other guy. Squib, Night Strike.
Well, I mean, pretty much whatever I got. If I just have a gun to carry for self-defense or whatever, and I'm out there and I see a varmint and it's my property and I'm trying to keep them away, I guess it's whatever I got on me, sidearm, long gun, whatever it is. I mean, but if I was intentionally going out there for, say, coyote and there wasn't any restriction like the deer hunting cartridge restriction here or whatnot, yeah, I'd probably go 30-06, or I might just go 8mm Mauser. I kind of like to get something with one of my Mauser rifles. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I can't hunt deer with center fire rifle, but I can hunt coyotes or squirrels with one.
Yeah. I mean, I could use the AK. I could use the C308. Hell, again, yeah, I could just use the 45 to shoot them.
True.
If they're out in the backyard, well, I hate to say this, but there's it's open season year round in South Carolina on coyote.
I can tell you if they're out in the country and you're hunting them, You better have something that can shoot 300 yards.
Yeah.
Let's see here. The last one we have, and they're pushing questions out in the chat. 762 by 39 or 223. Steadily, I guess it depends on what I'm doing. I mean, Steadily, if I'm going to hunt deer, it would be the 762 by 39 or larger. 223, you know, in an AR just to kind of play around at the range and stuff, or for self-defense. I've got guns in both calibers, so I really couldn't choose one or the other. I do like how cheap X39 ammo is. I can get 40 rounds of Tula for $10. So that's pretty hard to beat, especially with my Ruger Ranch rifle. So in that end, I would go with the X39. For hunting, I'd prefer to go 762 by 39.
Back to the coyote thing. If I was going to have a gun to hunt coyote with, specifically, it would be something in 22-250. But I already have a 30-06 and it works, so if I go coyote hunting, I'll just take it and not buy another gun.
Yep. Okay, now the last type of game, your go-to gun, is going to be the squirrel, raccoon, rabbit, etc. What is your go-to gun for small woodland creatures?
Specifically, a Marlin 981 TS.
Good luck with that one, Tony.
It's what I use when I go.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Night Strike or Squid? What about you guys? Small woodland creatures?
I'll ask Tony.
Okay.
It's genuinely a sub MOA thing. So, I mean, at 100 yards, it's sub MOA.
I mean, if it's a squirrel, then it's my STG 44 semi-auto clone and 22 long rifle. If it's a rabbit, it's an AR-15 and in 5.56.
Obviously, you don't like to eat rabbit.
Obviously, you've got small rabbits where you're at.
I mean, what, you're the size bear?
I wouldn't be hunting rabbit around here. I'd go down to New Mexico and hunt me one of them big jackrabbits.
Those taste awful, by the way.
Man, just put some Tabasco on it. You're good to go.
No,
red hot. You put that shit on everything.
No. There's not enough Tabasco sauce in the world. Those things are scrawny.
Sriracha.
They may look big, but there's not a lot of meat on them.
I'll bet you one of these little crickets would be good for rabbit hunting out here. I mean, they got that kind of a peep sight thing on them. They're really short.
I was gonna ask if you know my Savage 64 would be a good enough gun for squirrel hunting.
Can you keep them all in about an inch at 25 yards?
It's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
The only downside is it's got 10-round magazines, but I think that actually might be a plus in some states.
Mine will hold like 26 if I put shorts in it.
Remember, this is the rifle I got for $99 at Walmart. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm not expecting much out of $99. I'll tell you that.
These little crickets are exceptionally accurate. Way better than I thought they would be.
Oh yeah, they're good little guns. Again, for me, squirrel, raccoon, etc. Probably my Savage Mark IIF with just the iron sights on it. My wife, we have a lefty Mark II for her that's got a scope on it, and she's left-handed, so we've got a left-hand model, which I actually enjoy firing that. It's got a nice wooden stock with it. That's one I need to get out in some videos too. I haven't taken that out for quite a while, but yeah, not a bad little rifle. So that'll work for me. Okay, now I've got a question here. This was actually emailed to me from Alex Che. I think he was here for a little while. I'm not sure if he's still here, but the question he has, and I don't know how to answer this one. Maybe you guys can answer it. Maybe you guys know a little bit more. I was going to try to do a search on it, but I couldn't. So Alex Shea has a, what do you say, standard manufacturing shotgun. And the question was, it says lead shot only on the barrel. So, you know, we're assuming there's no choke tubes or anything like that, just the standard, whatever it is, improved cylinder, whatnot. He wants to run Federal Prairie Storm copper nickel plated shot through it. Is that a no-no? In a lead shot barrel, should you only shoot lead shot?
If they stamp it on the barrel, I would go by that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a reason, because there might have been other shot that existed at the time when that gun was made. I believe you just said a standard manufacturing is all it is.
I think that they do that when they're tight chokes, so people won't try to run like steel buckshot.
Okay.
But I would not do something that the gun doesn't or says you shouldn't do or whatever. That's just
Yeah, I wouldn't want to.
I mean, you might be able to get away with a copper, but you won't want to use steel.
Yeah. Honestly, just go out and get another shotgun. I mean, with as inexpensive as
Yeah.
shotguns are, just get something that's designed to take it anything around, all the way around, slug guns, lead shot, whatever kind of fun metallic shot you want to go with, you can do it.
Yeah, don't chance it with something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't take any chances on it at all. So Alex, that'd be our suggestion. We always want to say be safe, and you might say, well, in a pinch you can get by. Yeah, but I don't want you blowing your gun up. Who knows? And plus, it could scour the inside of the barrel. It might not be able to handle that kind of shot.
Or blowing yourself up.
Yeah. Just go get yourself whatever. Get yourself something inexpensive that's going to work for you, or expensive, whatever you want to do, man. Now, okay, so Steadley says the steel shot is still not as hard as the barrel. Okay, who knows? I mean, maybe the inside of it is just so it doesn't. Some places, let's see, some places don't allow lead shot anymore. I think that's probably why he's asking, so we can continue using the shotgun, but use, NRD compliant ammo that's not lead based.
Well, if you want to do that, you could probably get by with bismuth.
Oh, bismuth or whatever for.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Tony.
Okay.
I believe it's fairly soft.
And again, Alex, that's up to you. Our suggestion across the board, I think, would be to get something different instead of chancing it or ruining a decent gun. So, yeah. And okay, we got somebody else chiming in on the YouTube side. The mech says if it says lead only, use plain lead only. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Otherwise, let's see. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions coming in here. Some of the panel still with us, and people have taken off.
The question about the squirrel gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not overly picky, to be honest with you, because I've taken squirrels with my Phoenix 22.
Okay.
My Marlin Model 60. What else? I've had several other 22s, but I take my 981 most of the time just because that's my hunting gun.
Okay.
I mean, I bought it specifically to do that with, and stainless steel, synthetic, so that I didn't have to worry about elements and things like that. That's why that gun.
Yeah.
I got a Browning BL-22 that I took out, and the first shot I shot a squirrel, I missed. But I'm like, well, I ain't doing that again.
Okay. We do have a question on the super chat side, and I guess this is probably a good one to close on because everybody is pretty emotional about this right now, and I know you guys are all going to be tired of hearing about this by the end of the weekend. Cowboy Swami did a super chat. Thoughts on Benchmade about destroying guns? Thanks. Okay. My thoughts on it. First of all, you can't tell me the police department doesn't know how to destroy firearms with an angle grinder. I mean, they had to go take it over to Benchmade to do it. And a lot of people say, well, Benchmade's within close proximity to the Oregon Police Department. So if you don't know what's going on, Oregon Police Department, one of the police departments posted some pictures of guns that had been ordered to be destroyed or guns that had been used in crimes or guns that had been dropped off to be destroyed. They took them over to Benchmade and said, would you do this for us? Benchmade said yes. So they were destroyed. Now, people could say, well, yeah, they turned that gun into an SBR when they cut the barrel off before they destroyed it. Yeah, but the gun was in the process of being destroyed. I don't agree with any kind of gun destruction policies whatsoever. I think the guns should be put back into the ecosystem, clear the serial numbers and resell them, sell them to dealers, whatever. I don't care. I'm totally against that just because if and when these red flag laws ever get confiscated, that could be your gun and you're never going to get it back. You're never going to see it again. So I'm totally against it. And second, it was kind of interesting. There were some arguments where people, I think it was Wranglestar, was saying that that Benchmade has contributed heavily to some local community colleges that have machinist programs to get more machinists out there, and they contribute to it, and they've contributed to certain candidates because those candidates promoted those community colleges. The problem is, if you look at the track record of who exactly Benchmade is giving their money to, and they can choose to do that if they want to. They are a private company. Maybe they're publicly traded. I don't know. But they're a company. They can give to whoever they want. That's fine. But then they also have to understand that there could be some repercussions from your customers because of what you do on the side. Kind of like what happened with Springfield Armory and some of these other companies. So they were contributing money to certain 100% to Democratic candidates, and a lot of the candidates they were contributing to are anti-gun candidates. Okay, so my thought initially is I'm not going to support a company that's going to support that kind of a cause, and I'm sure there's tons of other companies out there that we don't know about. And this has all been vetted and proven. There's records and listings of where Benchmade spent the money, who got how much, who the money go to. It's there, all right? It's not fake news. I'm not going to support them. I don't own a Benchmade knife, and I won't as long as they contribute to anti-gun causes, because in the end, it leads to things like what we have to deal with here in Nebraska, which is 4 anti-gun proposal bills that are showing up that we never thought we'd see in Nebraska, now just popping up to vote on. That could affect me personally. And anything that contributes to any kind of anti-gun cause can come back and haunt you, even if it's just a bump stock ban, even if it's just a magazine restriction, right? It goes beyond that every single time. So my thoughts are, I'm not going to support them. I don't care what kind of damage control they're pushing right now, what they're coming out in the public. My thoughts are, I cannot support them if they were supporting a candidate. And, again, when Wrangle Star's video, he was saying, well, you wouldn't just kick somebody out of your church that shows up at your church someday if they're from a different faith because you don't agree with their faith. This has nothing to do with that. This is the intentions of the people they are giving money to. In the end, those people want to disarm Americans. I cannot support that. So that's my thoughts. What do you guys think? I'll shut up.
Well, the guns themselves that got destroyed, if they were mandated by law to be destroyed, then they were going to be destroyed. It doesn't make that much difference to me who did it. It shouldn't have been done. But
well, we don't need laws that say guns need to be destroyed anyway. But anyway, okay.
The political contributions to anti-gun people. Now you're talking something that I cannot support.
I really want to hear Benchmade's. What's their response? How do you justify that? Oh, well, they support, because again, once the guns are gone, and this is the funny part, then the Dems come after your knives. Look at other countries where citizens can't even have knives. Okay, then they come for our knives, and then before you know, only the police and military have everything they use, and who knows what's going to be used.
Then before you know it, you're getting arrested for defending yourself, and the other guy gets off scot-free and goes out and attacks someone
Australia,
else.
right? Exactly. So
yeah, but if you get a little abstract, guns are actually competition and defensive stuff with knives. If you can't handle guns, you'll have to go to knives. Maybe it's a business decision.
I mean, so I don't. But again, if you look at who runs Benchmade, if you look at how they lean, and I don't want to be like a locationist, okay, but they are a West Coast company. They are located in Oregon, which some parts of it, are very anti-gun. If you look at who they were giving the money to, and again, if it's that company's preference to want to support that candidate, hey, this is America. They have every single option to do that. But I can also say that there will be repercussions from your audience. Okay.
I want to point out that, those that know me realize that I am as pro 2A as anybody. And I don't think any of these guns should have been destroyed. I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
But as far as Benchmade, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. That there had to be somebody there that said, hey, this is going to be a public relations nightmare.
Well, is their CEO supporting anti-gun liberal candidates? Is there some other motive? Is it because of that's their personal beliefs? That, I mean, I can see where they're coming from with wanting to support a candidate that supports an industry that keeps your company going. But that candidate's dealings on the sides and how it can impact other Americans, that's being pretty selfish. We're going to support that candidate because they're going to help get money for a community college. It's going to supply us with workers. But then that candidate also dabbles in anti-gun politics. Come on, man. Really?
Okay, so we talked about this last night on Budget Guns and Gear Review.
Yeah.
And I brought up, if you really want to get some objective information regarding this, go to TGC News and watch their article on it. And I know there's a bunch of people out there that don't like them.
Mr. Guns and Gear has
Adam Crowder's a shill, whatever. You know what? Yeah. You guys take a step back and really look at, they're actually doing a lot more for our community than people realize by not, sorry, Night Strike, shouting shall not be infringed at everything. Anyhow, that aside, this is, in my opinion, a PR guy screwed up. The police department probably did not have fun. And those people out there going, how much does a hacksaw cost? We don't know how many dozens or hundreds of guns they had to destroy. You might be able to bubba your Mosin by taking a hacksaw to the barrel, but you give two cops a hacksaw, you're going to be paying overtime out the ass, all right? Benchmade probably had the equipment to do this quickly and efficiently, and their communications guy probably said, hey, this is a great PR move. And their CEO or whoever authorized it, it might not have even gone up to the top, probably said, yeah, green light. These guys are probably not gun guys. You're giving them way too much credit. You think because they make knives, they're necessarily gun guys, or that everybody that works there is even a knife guy. There are lots of people that are in power in companies that are not. You would not believe how many auto executives are not car guys, believe it or not. It's all about the money for them. So they probably thought this was a good public relations move, and they wanted to show, we support law enforcement. We're saving the taxpayers' money, blah, 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 blah. It would be no different than if the local SWAT team wanted to use their factory to do an active threat training because they needed a scenario or whatever, or if the fire department wanted to do some fire training there to be able to put out a fire at a factory or something like that. It would be no different than the same, and that's why they released it. It was probably a PR move. When they realized the backlash, they pulled it, obviously, and their public relations is going to be doing damage control. But at the end of the day, you're giving way too many of these people credit as if they're gun guys, and they're not. Just because they're into one thing or they work for a certain company doesn't mean that they are. Now, as far as them being destroyed, some of those guns had a court order to be destroyed. You're not going to reverse that court order. If you want to do something about this, get the police department to change their policy or get the local municipality to change their laws. Like in Arizona, they can't destroy them. They have to sell them and put the money back into the police department. Well, that's Arizona. That's not everywhere across the country. We would love to see these things get sold. We would love to see the money go back into the police department and help support the police department. We would love to see all this other stuff. But I think they did the decision to do this based off of money. And I think the company did the decision based off of public relations and image as far as supporting LEO. I don't think they really had an anti-gun message out there. And now they're going, oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Now, I'm not saying Benchmade is innocent. I'm not saying the police department is innocent. I'm not saying, but I'm saying step back and quit with your whole, they're taking my guns attitude and look at it from a business standpoint, or look at it from these guys don't have, the Second Amendment is not on their radar at all kind of thing. Not that they're pro-gun or they're anti-gun, they just don't care. As far as them donating to the candidates, Travis, you bring up a great point that they may have been supporting candidates that support machining programs or support community colleges. And they're not looking at their gun record because guns aren't on their radar. They don't care either way. I don't think they're out to sabotage the gun industry so people buy more knives. And I also think they don't care if every gun owner goes, I'll never buy another Benchmade again, because they sell to so many other people anyhow. But
I think they're going to see an economic sting from it. If you have, we're talking $300 knives here, $200 to $300 knives. They're going to notice it if you've got a massive.
I don't know. There's people out there that are going to buy their product and still be pro 2A no matter what. There are lots of people that say boycotting is stupid. Okay, fine. I'm not saying because I boycott, you have to boycott. I think we should boycott companies like this, even if it's sometimes for the wrong reasons, just to send a message out there to say, if you mess with our Second Amendment, we're going to mess with your bottom line, even if it doesn't affect them, even if they don't care, even if they're owned by a holdings group that doesn't care about us, whatever it is. But you got to understand that this was probably it was a bad judgment call on both, but the bottom line is, comes down to the policy of the police department or the laws that they have to follow. It's not about Benchmade, and it's not necessarily about a bunch of anti-gun cops. And I don't think people are looking at that.
Here's another thing, too. We as pro 2A people are the minority in this country. So how many people out there are looking at this thinking they're helping the cops out? This is a good thing.
I made a suggestion that even if they can't resell the guns, and even if they have to destroy them, why not destroy the serialized part of the gun and strip it for parts and sell them all to Numrich so they can resell at least the components off of the guns? But, for these guys, then now you're talking about the labor to dismantle the guns and document all the part numbers and blah, 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 blah. And then you run into cost again. And you hear these police departments all the time complaining they've got no money. They've got no money. And, you have to look at a lot of different variables in here. If you just go in there, guns blazing, going, they're anti-gun, they're coming, there are guns, I don't think you're being objective. And when you're not being objective, you're no better than the anti-gunners.
Real quick here, Erstwhile had a super chat. He goes, you can buy a bandsaw at Harbor Freight for $200. Cops could have done it in-house if they had wanted to.
You know what? Okay, obviously you've never had to officially document destroying property. I've had to document destroying records of automotive parts, and you've got to watch them go into the grinder. You actually have to confirm that they're there. You have to do this. It's not that simple. It's not as simple. You're using your garage and your backyard to. It's like trying to apply backyard mechanics to how a shop has to fix your car and still be within requirements of the law. And they've got building codes for their building and insurance and OSHA and blah 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 blah. You're not applying business and legalities. They had to document that each one, they actually had to witness it get destroyed. It had to be destroyed within ATF standards. Remember, you've got to cut it within a quarter inch of here and there. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And if this company's saying, we'll provide the equipment, the labor and everything and save you. And I mean, I'm not excusing them. I'm trying to explain this from a more objective standpoint instead of us just doing what we always do, which keeps causing us to lose, guys. It keeps causing us to lose every time we start shouting, shall not be infringed, and we aren't objective.
They need to also understand that they have a very vocal pro-freedom customer base that they need to take into consideration.
I agree with. That I think we should shun them. We should cut them off. We should make them villains. But I think that's just to show all the other companies, hey, don't do this.
The point.
I mean, if anything, other companies will come from and say, you know what, maybe we should pay attention to maybe we should know our audience a little bit better if we want to ensure the future of our company.
The point is that the guns are going to be destroyed, period. Whether they did it or somebody else did it, it was getting done.
Now,
that's where the change needs to happen.
Liberty's Warrior makes a good point. He goes, they're not gun guys. Okay, but they do support anti-gun causes, so I am anti them. Okay, and
that's fine, and that's good and fine. But Travis, you brought up the fact that they may be supporting these candidates or these politicians for other reasons, and these politicians just happen to be anti-gun. Well, and that is more plausible than them going, yeah, we're going to take your guns. Okay. Now, the fact that they didn't do their due diligence and their research and go, oh, man, if anybody ever finds out we supported this candidate, we're going to well, hey, now maybe other companies might go, we might want to start doing a little research before we send money over here because they're going to find out and we're going to boycott us too. So this could be a good thing for our community. And if Benchmade eats it, I don't really care.
Maybe Benchmade will come out and say, the intention was, again, they promote local education programs, machinist programs, but we're going to be really seriously considering who our money goes to, and if they want to come out and say that, and again, like you said, maybe they did not know. Okay, maybe they didn't care. Maybe they didn't care to know. Because if I went upstairs and said, "Hey, did you know that candidate, that Democratic candidate in Nebraska is anti-gun?" She'd probably say no because she doesn't look into how these candidates vote. Okay, so she might not know. Your average person probably wouldn't, like you said, but I think it is still important, and they're going to get the message that you have a strong pro-freedom customer base that does not agree with who they dabble with. And again, we have a right to tell them. They have a right to give the money to whoever they want to, and we have a right to not buy. And
I think we need to do that to send a message to everybody, not just Benchmade, but everybody. And I think that the people that live in that community that have the right to vote there, or the people who live in that state, at whatever level this rule about having to destroy the guns is, the people that live there have the ability to vote, petition, do whatever it is to change that. We can't. You can't write them a letter from Nebraska and they'll be like, oh yeah, this guy in Nebraska, what? And that's one thing that irritates me is when people from other states say, you guys need to do something about our problems here. Why? I can't vote there. What am I supposed to do? So it really comes down to the people there. If the people there are really pro 2A, they will do something or at least attempt, because you can't always fight City Hall, but they will do something or attempt to do something to change this law. If they don't care, if it's not on their radar either, you can't change those people. So I would say be more concerned that in your community, in your county, in your state, what are the laws there about having to destroy this evidence? I would rather see these things get sold. And I'd rather see the money go back to the police department.
This should be a learning moment for everybody, because there might be certain industry. You might want to do some research in certain bits of industry and do the civilized thing and have discussions with the management or the ownership of those businesses and say, the company this company really contributes. Why does this company contribute to this candidate or that candidate? How are you guys benefiting from it? Say, well, you do realize the other effect is going to be that it now affects me, the gun owner. It now affects my rights. And if I can't have my gun, at some point I can't have this and have that, and then I can't buy your product. So again, you make a good point. We need to get out there and maybe raise more awareness for these companies, or maybe this combined with Springfield and combined with Yeti and all these other companies or whatnot, that they're not going to be helping themselves in the long run. There's going to be a customer base that's not going to be there for them if they go a certain route, And here's the deal: would it have hurt Benchmade to be a Pro 2A company all along? Would it have hurt them? No, not at all. I mean, if people would probably go out of the way to shop from them if they knew that Benchmade contributed to Pro 2A causes. They could have still done the gun destruction as a favor to the police. Like you said, if there's a certain procedure that has to be done and the police didn't have the money to do it, I'm completely against any kind of confiscation, destruction programs whatsoever. But if it had to happen and they were just doing a favor to the police to save them revenue, but they were still very much Pro 2A, very much, I don't know. It's an ugly situation. I don't think there's any real, my answer is for now, I cannot support them because, again, in my own state, I'm starting to see the effects of an anti-2A push. That's going to affect me personally, and I can't support any cause that is not Pro 2A.
Well, you brought up the Yeti thing. The Yeti thing was totally fictitious, made up by the NRA. But everybody just jumped on the bandwagon right away instead of doing their research, instead of staying calm and waiting. And people were destroying their Yetis on YouTube or whatever it is. And NRA lied about it, completely lied about it. Me, the guy that supports the NRA, is admitting the NRA lied about something, okay? But how quick were people to jump on the bandwagon? Now, that's not to say that, I mean, there's been enough stuff, I think maybe because of the Yeti thing, people started coming out and doing a little bit of research on this, as opposed to just, well, there were the few people that immediately had to make YouTube videos because they're about numbers.
Yeah,
they're not about facts, they're about numbers. They're not doing our community any favor.
Yeti even stated. Now, it's kind of funny, the official cooler of the NRA is no longer Yeti.
Yeah. Yeah,
they have some
but that was a business move where they decided to stop giving discounts and whatnot, and then the NRA just jumped on that and just used it to, and it's like, whoa, dude, come on, really?
Yeah.
But that's what happens in our community. Somebody says something, and it just goes everywhere quick. It spreads like wildfire, and people don't back up. They just catch the key phrase. They read the headline. They're no better than the anti-gunner when they do that, and then they just start going nuts with it. And sometimes this stuff it's good to get it out quick, and sometimes it's good to hold these people accountable. And then there's other times it's like, oh, we just put our foot in our mouth.
As gun owners, as people that believe in liberty and freedom, let's do our part to find out what we believe to be the truth, or as much information as possible, before we go on an anti this or that tirade, so we don't get another situation like with what Yeti did, right? Whether you buy their coolers or not. People were, again, ripping on him after the NRA came out with this and that, and yet he said, no, we didn't. You guys lied. Here's the proof. Okay, or even with the Benchmade, when it first started popping up on Facebook Messenger, people were saying, can we verify this? Calaveras was one of the first guys. He goes, before we freak out about this, let's find some proof that they are anti-2A. Just because they're destroying guns, do we really know how they stand? And then boom, opensecrets.org posts a list of all the companies that they've contributed to, when, who, and how much, because there's a financial paper trail of that.
And then maybe other companies will take notice of it. Maybe they will not go, maybe we need to rethink this thing,
I don't know, man. It's a society that lives on thumbnails and sound bites.
I know, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, you don't have time to research everything. And some people, when they research something, they go to one site and one site only, and it goes, look, I did my research, instead of going to 3 or 4 sites or seeing some inconsistencies. That's the thing you got to look for, inconsistencies in the information. And at that point, you got to dig more. I'm into research, and I don't have the time to research everything, but when I do research something, I try to follow it to the ends of the earth. That's just me. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody's into. Some people can't research something to save their life.
I really like,
but I'm also not out there on YouTube putting up videos going, look, here's the sites I went to, here's the sources I used, here's the places I called, here's the experience, whatever it is that I'm using to do my research. So I'm not even contributing to fixing the problem that I'm complaining about. So it's just how much time do you have? But scanning thumbnails and reading headlines, you're gonna put your foot in your mouth. Take it from me.
You guys realize that I ain't been kicked out of here yet once today?
That's amazing.
I bought a new phone yesterday.
Oh, good deal. All right, Tony, no way, man. I want to say this real quick because Vanessa Kitty makes a really good point. She goes, okay, there's many laws in the books restructuring your knife rights. There's places you can only have a 1.5-inch knife. Why are you guys not all up in arms about knives? Why are we not upset the fact that something could be considered a knife or a dangerous weapon if it's in your pocket versus being open carried? Why aren't we more adamant about getting knife laws changed so we could just fix it all together, make it so that we don't have these restrictions on knives? Because in Nebraska, it's a complicated little web you have to follow.
Is it always about size?
I'm not going to answer that question, Tony.
Look, knives are not on my radar. I'm not a knife guy at all, but if one of you guys said, hey, they're having a vote here in Michigan on a knife law, could you please, either vote, if it's a good law that lets us have some stuff back, could you vote for it? Or if it's a bad law that's taking stuff away, could you vote? I would support it, but knives are not on my radar because I live somewhere where I can carry a gun if I want to. So I suppose if you live somewhere where you can't have a gun, then having a knife or a stun gun or pepper spray, if there were laws restricting that would be more on your radar, or you would feel like you would have a better chance of getting those laws repealed because people don't look at those as deadly as a gun, even though, isn't it more people get killed with hammers and guns or something? But it's not on my radar. But if somebody was asking me, yeah, I don't mind voting for better laws or to get rid of bad laws.
The problem is heavy-handed. Go ahead, Tony.
I cannot.
Go ahead, Tony.
I cannot believe how often today I've completely agreed with Squibb. I think I need to go see a doctor.
David, what are your thoughts on the whole Benchmade issue? I want to hear what you think about it. I mean, I know, and again, we're going to be sick and tired about it, and there's going to be a lot.
Pull up your notes from last night, man.
Go ahead, David.
I'm in a bad area, so if I start roboting, feel free to just go ahead and mute me.
Right.
The problem is heavy-handed government. To go back to what Vanessa was saying, it doesn't matter if you care about knives, carry knives, or every kid that's born gets a butcher knife, on the day he's born. You don't want the government telling people what they can and can't do all the time, everywhere. That's the problem. So if you support, this isn't about guns. None of this is about guns. None of this is about knives. This is about the government telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And the shady thing about Benchmade is police stations all over the country destroy guns every day. They destroy drugs every day, and there's no Instagram post about that. Why do they Instagram post this one? And if they're concerned about saving revenue, any scrapyard, any industrial scrapyard would take those and put it in their tumbler and crush up the metal and recycle the metal for them for free.
So it almost feels like
and say, here's a whole stack of guns that if you crush them up, you can have the metal. The scrapyard guy's going to say, sure, let me have them. Thing is pushing further and further. All right, sorry.
Yeah. No, you pretty much hit the nail right on it. Was there some sort of message that the company was sending, yes or no? And again, they got a right to do what they want. We got a right to not buy it. I would just say you vote with your pocketbook. You state your opinion with your pocketbook, with your wallet. That's what I would say in the end. So, and work, do work on a larger level to get the laws changed or get active. Whether it's knives or it's gun destruction laws or red flag laws or whatnot. I think it's important that people really get out there and just do more than just sit around and complain about it online, right? I mean, there's more you need to be doing out there. So. All right, guys. I think we'll go ahead and call it. Frank Hellman's got a good point. The point is that what are their beliefs and who they do and do not support. Consistency. There you go. So joining us today, guys. Over on the gun channel side, we did have Patrick over there, and we did have earlier. I think we had Tony. You were over there too. So Patrick's been pretty. He's been sharing a lot of his build thoughts and talking about when we had our little AR construction discussion. He talked about what some of his go-to guns are and how easy it is to build the guns and so on. So Patrick, it's always good to see you over there on the YouTube side or on the gun channel side. Over on the YouTube side, we had Liberty's Warrior joining in with us today, and Vanessa Kitty was out there. Tacos and French fries in the house. Midnight Range TM, Steadley, Frank Hellman, Snake Doctor 78, Stephen Dawkins, Blue Steel 44, Scott P79, Cowboy Swami in the house, Local 223. Let's see who else was out there. See if I missed anybody. Again, Midnight Range, if I didn't mention him. Digital Prophet 4083 was out there too. Otherwise, that's, I hope I didn't miss anybody. There's been so many people that have been in on this chat today, guys. I want to thank you for joining us. A couple things coming up today. We've got a Never Enough Ammo. We're doing kind of a Dungeons and Dragons style game, but it's going to be with Army, military. Not really Army. It's going to be kind of an apocalyptic role-playing game that we're going to play, and I think NEA is going to host that as a podcast. It's going to be pretty cool. So that'll be coming up. I believe it's today at 2:30, so be watching for that. What else do we have for shows today, guys? What should people be checking out? What do we have later on?
Rick's Life as I see it.
There you go. There you go. What time is that?
3 Eastern.
3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Central.
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you check out Rick's Life as I see it. Any other shows out there, you guys get over to gunchannels.com. Do make sure that you support guntube.org. You can support them over on Patreon. Okay, with some outros here, let's let you guys have a few final thoughts before we close. So, Kingpin, what do you think, man? Anything you want to say before we go? Again, hopefully cell phone reception might be kind of iffy for him right now. Do make sure you check out David Bowling's channel, and he's got a lot of great content over there. He's got some great range tests. He's doing some drawings right now. If you go over to guntube.org, the main video that shows up over there is Kingpin's drawing. He's going to be giving away some ammo, which is really cool, so do check it out. Squib, any final thoughts?
If I can get to the unmute.
Sorry, man, you're busy. You've been busy today.
Good show, good topics. Thanks for the invite, and I'll see you guys around the interwebs.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Cool, man. Appreciate you joining in here and being with us and so on. It's always good to have your opinion in here and have you chime in. So thanks for joining us, man. All right. And then Tony, last but not least, man, any thoughts?
Those of you on YouTube, if you're not members of gun channels, why not? Free to join, free to enter.
Get over there. Get over to gun channels and get signed up. It's a really cool place. It's an awesome community. I've met quite a few friends off of it. A good place to go for information. So, yep. Oh, man. Hopefully, a lot of messages coming across here on the YouTube side. So, I'm going to have to go back and watch this and see what everybody has to say. There's a lot of thoughts coming out about the Benchmade stuff. So, otherwise, guys, thanks for chiming in. Again, I'll have more videos coming your way. It's still awful weather, and today, this afternoon, we've got a blizzard coming up. I was hoping that Gizzard Gary would join in because the snow's coming up from Kansas, and we're going to get smacked today. So I don't know when I'm going to get out to the range. It'll happen at some point. At some point, I might just bundle up and go, and I'm still sitting on the Desert Eagle on a range test, so that should be coming up soon. But, you know, again, we'll keep putting content out there for you. What's that, Tony?
How the heck is it you're getting a blizzard and we ain't?
It's straight from the south. It's coming straight up from the south, right across the central part of the U.S. Kind of coming out of Colorado and Kansas and kind of swooping its way up. It was
so Patrick's sending it to you.
Gizzard sending his snow our way. Yeah.
Blame them.
I was gonna give him a hard time for that. What's that?
We're supposed to be 50 degrees and rain today, so I ain't going to range either. But
that'd be nice.
Warm as it's been for quite a while.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. So who knows? All right, guys, this has been Caliber Corner episode number 82. We had a lot of good discussions today, a lot of fun chatting about stuff, and maybe we'll have a little more information about Benchmade next week. Who knows? I know they're putting some damage control out there right now, trying to state their point. I'm going to watch and see what they have to say and kind of make my own decision at that point, but otherwise, I won't support them for now. But anyway, guys, this has been it. Caliber Corner 82. Join us next Saturday. I want to thank everybody that was on the panel with us today. Make sure you guys go back and subscribe to their channels. If you go back earlier, you can see who everybody was that was in here. We had Calaveras was with us, and we had Sandhill Shooter with us. Nice Strike was with us. I'm sure I'm missing a few people, but otherwise, guys, that's it. As always, okay, I want you to have fun. I want you to be safe, and as you know, we will talk to you guys soon. All right, take care.
Good day, everybody.
Bye, Alicia.
And in Spanish, adios, Alicia.